Welcome to Fanfiction Audiobooks. One Piece, I'm undercover in the Navy. Chapter 82. After quickly retreating behind the giant Lieutenant General, darkness flashed across his body, the traces of burning disappeared, and the vitality in his body surged and he quickly recovered. Yan breathed a sigh of relief and stared at the huge monster that was walking quickly in the sea. The descendant of the lucky country Ounce, Little Ounce. When the huge figure appeared, a marine shouted his name in surprise. Whitebeard felt the arrival of Little Ounce and smiled happily. "Aren't you not allowed to come?" "Dad, I'm going to save Ace." "Stupid, cover Ounce." Anyone can feel Whitebeard's inner joy. As a father, it is a very happy thing to see his sons getting along harmoniously and brotherly love spreading all over the world. Holding the big sword in his hand, Ounce defeated all the enemies and was invincible. The giant Lieutenant General was like a child in front of him. The giantess who was wielding a spear was thrown away by her grasping the spear. The giant man wielding a long sword was knocked back by him and could not stop. The defense line of the giant lieutenants, which was supposed to be a surprise force, has been shattered under the attack of Little Ounce alone. The navy below wanted to turn their guns to attack, but were stopped by the warring states. Don't worry about Little Ounce. Yan was already standing in front of Little Ounce. He believed that Yan could easily deal with this big guy. Yan flew to Little Ounce. "Hey, big guy." Little Ounce looked at the little bug in front of him in confusion. "What do you want to do?" "That's the Fire Fist Ace I captured. And I tortured him for 3 days and 3 nights. Yan said lightly with a smile on his lips. Anger emerged in Ounce's heart, and the overwhelming anger made him hate Yan. He raised the big knife in his hand and was about to chop it down. However, no matter how hard Ounce tried, he couldn't use it. Ounce found that his strength was rapidly disappearing. Bang! Everyone discovered that Little Ounce, who was still brave and invincible, could not hold the knife in his hand after Yan said a few words to him, and fell to the ground, and he knelt on the ground unsteadily. A flash of flame appeared on his fingertips, and he threw it into Ounce's mouth. Hellfire will burn within him until everything about him is consumed. A person who thinks a person is a good person because of a straw hat. How complicated the mind can be. Yan said easily. "You guy, give our captain his life." One by one, the pirates of the Ounce pirates rushed towards Yan. However, in the process of charging, they began to lose strength, kneeling on the ground, and were hit by the passing navy. The officers of the Whitebeard pirates and the elite pirates nearby stopped the pirates who were rushing towards Yan. Darkness appeared in Whitebeard's eyes, but he still controlled his heart. He can't fall down yet, otherwise, the Whitebeard pirates will have to stay here. The death of 1 ounce will make the pirates hateful and stop being brave. "Marco!" Whitebeard shouted softly. Marco understood and turned into a phoenix and rushed towards Yan alone. A ferocious smile appeared on Yan's lips. "He really thought I was afraid of you." "Ice Chick!" A huge group of ice chicks appeared from the sea and instantly knocked the unsuspecting Marco away. Admiral Aokiji. Tall figure, hair like an explosion. The blue pheasant stood on the ice. "Hell Flame Bird." Yan looked at Marco who was knocked away and raised his hand to make up for it. "Go, you must go. In a place like the battlefield, if you seize the opportunity, you must attack violently." Crane's figure appeared in the direction of the Shishibukai. "Everyone, it's time to make a move." Several Shishibukai stepped forward and tried to fish, but they would have been forced away by Zifa who was not far behind he. Hawkeye stepped forward, found a random direction, and guarded it. Xiong also randomly found a direction, using lasers and air cannons to block the Whitebeard pirates' charge one after another. Hancock clicked his tongue disdainfully and stayed where he was. "They are all gone, so I will guard this place." Yan and Kingji looked at each other and stared at Marco. "Mud, if you rushed to the depths of the naval battle line yourself, don't blame us for being ruthless." Marco emerged from the explosion of the Hell Flame Bird, his body burning with blue flames, as if nothing happened. With a pair of dead fish eyes open, he proved that he was fine. No matter how strong your resilience is, you still have to follow a basic method. I don't believe that your physical strength can support you to recover at any time. With a loud roar, he called Ching Pheasant to come forward. Frozen Time Capsule. Immortal Thistle. The huge green flames formed a round shield, blocking the violent cold air. Yan's darkness covered his whole body and penetrated through the air conditioning and green flames. He rushed out at a high speed and stabbed Marco with a knife. Marco gritted his teeth, grabbed Yan with both hands, raised his leg and executed a phoenix seal at close range. Then he attacked wildly regardless of his injuries. Just as Aoki was about to assist, he heard a loud roar, sparkling attack. Diamond Josie arrived, and the diamond brawny man covered in armed colors collided with Aokiji at a terrifying speed of 200 hours. The roses are blooming. Rose flowers flying all over the sky appeared beside the blue pheasant. 5th Captain Baista arrives. There were 2 bangs. Yi Zhang arrived. Ice Age. Centered on itself, terrifying air conditioning erupted, freezing bullets, and frozen rose flowers. King Zi stood alone on the huge ice block, looking at the 3 people with a solemn expression. Terrible strength. Yan took a phoenix seal and stood on the ice, surprised by Marco. Marco sneered. Exchanging injuries for injuries, as if no one can do that. Am I still afraid of exchanging wounds with you? The wound stabbed by Yan's knife is recovering quickly under the burning of Qing Yan. Pooh. Yan was very unhappy. What the hell? The darkness swallowed the burning traces of the green flames, and the vitality quickly recovered. Who is afraid of who? Both sides have terrible resilience, and the people around them leave an open space for the 2 of them. Qing Pheasant was stopped. Yan's sword was covered with hell flames, Marco was covered with blue flames, and the 2 began to rush towards each other. At this moment, there is no point in talking about anything. Only by risking your life to defeat the opponent can you do it. You pierced my body with a knife, and I punched you through your shoulder. You give me a finger gun, and I will give you a phoenix seal. Who is afraid of who? Not afraid. What should I do if I'm not afraid? Keep going. Do it hard. Fuck like crazy. Aokiji controlled his attack range and tried to involve more Whitebeard pirates' cotters. Under the execution platform, Akainu and Kizaru sat there quietly, staring at the changes on the battlefield. From time to time, Kizaru fires laser finishing blows to control the pirates' offensive, or assist the navy in killing the pirates. Akainu just sat there quietly. There is no way, his abilities are not suitable for this kind of battlefield. In other words, the abilities of the 3 generals are not suitable for this kind of battlefield. They are suitable for battlefields where they have no teammates and can attack alone. That way they can use their full abilities. Especially Aokiji and Akainu. The 2 of them have full abilities and can easily defeat a group of enemies. Their ability to change the terrain can quickly eliminate many people, and can also make the enemy careless. Well now. They have very little room to shine. Directly sealed the greatest ability, natural disaster. Chapter 83 Shameless Whitebeard. I'm here to save Ace and my brother. I won't hate anyone. I'm here to save the captain and for a better life. We just want a family reunion. The pirates of the Whitebeard pirates comforted and advised themselves in their hearts. Absolutely no hate. Whitebeard looked at the commandment love that still existed even if he was restrained, and showed deep doubts. This ability is not activated automatically. Whitebeard showed doubts in his heart. Then we can only eliminate this person. After confirming that Yan's commandment, kindness is a passive ability, the murderous intention in Whitebeard's heart became heavier and heavier. The cyan immortal flames and the red hell flames intertwined with each other, and bits of broken flames burned a big hole in the ice. After another injury for injury exchange, Yavin and Marco separated, both gasping for air. Yan was slightly better, but Marco was already feeling tired. When the 2 were separated, Catherine quickly came to Yan and handed him a tube of medicine. A pirate also appeared next to Marco and quickly handed him a medicine. Both Yavin and Marco swallowed it without hesitation. Give me another shot of sedative. Marco said to the ship's doctor. The ship's doctor did not hesitate, took out a syringe from his clothes and inserted it directly into Marco's body. We are all prepared. Sengoku stood on the execution platform and saw the pirates lying helpless on the ice out of hatred. Anyone who was not killed by them in time was given a sedative by the ship's doctor of the Whitebeard pirates, and then rushed on battlefield. As expected of you, Whitebeard. Warring States looked at Whitebeard, who was still standing calmly on the Moby Dick, and sighed in his heart. He took out his phone and spoke slowly, intensify the war. Before he finished speaking, he was interrupted by a scream falling from the sky. I saw a warship falling in the sky. Both the pirates and the navy were frightened. Who is this? Reinforcements from the navy. Pirate reinforcements. The warship descended from the sky, the Golden Lion is here again. Warships dropped from the sky, what kind of extravagance did the navy do? Questions arose in the minds of pirates and navy. They both think this is the other party's operation. They still know what kind of trump card their side has. Garp's face turned green when he saw Luffy falling from the sky. Am I going to lose 2 grandsons at the same time today? He knew how many naval elites gathered on this battlefield. This is a peak combat power that is at least 5 times more terrifying than the Demon Slaying Order. The Demon Slaying Order consists of at most 10 warships, 5 lieutenants, and 1 general. The general started it because he was nearby, so he usually followed him to take a look. But here it is. The 3 generals, the marshal, the hero, the king of the Kibbutai. In addition, there are more than 30 lieutenant generals and dozens or hundreds of major generals. There are literally hundreds of large warships. In a battlefield with this kind of combat power, no one knows who they will meet in the next second. Just look at Yan. He has fought against almost all the captains of the Whitebeard pirates. Doflamingo and King Shishibukai was also injured when he was surrounded by the captain just now. When everyone saw Luffy, Crocodile, Ivankov, and Jinbei clearly on the warship, Sengoku's face turned ugly and he couldn't help shouting, "Jinbei, is this your answer?" Jinbei also yelled back, "That's right, I won't do this Shishibukai anymore." After all, he is returning to his identity as a sea hero. Ma Dan, Fishman Island, just wait for my revenge. The Warring States gritted his teeth. Yan's face turned dark instantly, and Marco's face across from him instantly became much better. Our side adds, decreases, 1 high-end combatant. Yan, who is familiar with the original work, knows very well that the people brought by Straw Hat Luffy have basically wiped out the fighting power of the 7-armed sea. Mahler, lead someone to stop Straw Hat Luffy. At least stop either Jinbei or Crocodile for me. Yan gave orders to Mahler, who was leading the team to rush over for support. Catherine, you go too. Yes. At this time, you can't be petty and must rush over. Yan looked at Marco again, damn, it was really uncomfortable. Next, as in the original work, Crocodile wanted to sneak attack Whitebeard, but was stopped by Straw Hat. Luffy and Whitebeard formed an alliance and led the team to attack the headquarters. Garp was relieved to see Ivankov's presence. Fortunately, his son's troops are still there. Looking at those strangely dressed ladyboys, Garp was even more relieved. This team that Ivankov raised from LV5 once had a bounty of more than 5,000 million per person. It is an absolutely elite team. Together with Ivankov and Jinbei, this team should be enough to save lives. Kapu breathed a sigh of relief, but Senguo couldn't swallow it in one breath. What the hell? If it weren't for you, Garp was useful to the navy and made great contributions. Just because of the team your grandson has created now, I will kill you, believe it or not. Your grandson's team can be said to be malicious. How much pressure does it put on our navy? Kizaru slowly stood up. Actor Mr. Huang, applied to compete. Please, pour a Salino. When Warring States saw Kizaru taking the initiative to take the job, he secretly thought it was beautiful. All we ask of you is that you don't kill the Straw Hats. That's right, looking at the appearance of the old comrade next to him, this is what Warring States had in mind. He was most afraid of Akainu going. What if this iron-headed boy gets anxious and burns Straw Hat to death with a big fire breather? How can he stop Garp when he goes berserk? This is my grandson. Seeing Kizaru appear on the Straw Hat's path, Yan felt relieved. Many people breathed a sigh of relief. After all, the Warring States Marshal had just said that Straw Hat Luffy was the son of a dragon. Most senior naval officials knew that dragon was Cap's son. So Straw Hat is Garp's grandson. Many people of their generation admire Garp and join the navy, and some old people have followed Garp to conquer the world. In some naval branches, those admirals who were watching the live broadcast secretly made a mental note that Straw Hat Luffy and the grandson of Vice Admiral Garp should not be killed easily. Let it go if you can, and be considerate of the elderly. Justice has no mercy, and they still want a promotion and a salary increase. Straw Hat Luffy just rushed for a while and met Mahler and Catherine. Mahler and Catherine rushed directly towards Jinbei. Jin Pian looked solemn, and just as he was about to take action, 2 she-males rushed out and stopped the 2 of them. Mr. Jinbei, hurry up, we're stopping you here. Catherine and Mahler looked at each other. Play it. The Straw Hats enter the scene and the navy begins to decline. Most Marines would retreat in one blow when facing Straw Hat Luffy, unable to stop him at all. Kizaru's laser speed inexplicably slowed down. The charging time is getting longer and longer, and the attack range is getting smaller and smaller. Just like just now, he could have quickly aimed and fired, but he had to accumulate power and wait for Ivankov to push Luffy away. After Sengoku saw that Straw Hat would be fine for a while, he breathed a sigh of relief and continued to issue orders, increase the intensity of the war against the Whitebeard pirates. If I can't kill Straw Hat Luffy, I can't kill you Whitebeard pirates. Warring State's eyes began to become ruthless. Kizaru's existence allows him to ensure Straw Hat Luffy's survival rate. Just do this. Whitebeard sneered, everyone assists Straw Hat Luffy in charging. Damn it, your second uncle has a white beard. The rational navy headed by Yan cursed in his heart at the same time. You shameless Whitebeard, if you can, charge on your own. How shameless are you to let a little pirate charge? Chapter 84 Solving Moria. Whitebeard was very satisfied with his arrangement. I am here to save my son. I must first find a way to save my son. A&D. Whitebeard stared at Garp on the execution platform with gloomy eyes. That monster exists, but not everyone can rush up to it. Rubber pistol. Iron block. Luffy looked at the navy that was once again surrounded in front of him, and shouted as he stepped forward. Iron block. A leopard appeared in front, took the blow, and then started to attack with Luffy's shocked eyes. It's you. The leopard of Judiciary Island. Beside Rob Lookie, all members of Justice Island CP9 appeared. Liu Chi said nothing and just attacked frantically. The same is true for the other CP9 members. Their goal is to make contributions in this war. Luffy was suppressed by Lucci for a moment. 6 types of mysteries, 6 king spears. Lucci flew towards Luffy and cast his secret power. Death Wink. Seeing that it was not good, Ivankov took it instantly. Straw Hat Rush. Ivankov gritted his teeth and took Lucci's move. Too difficult. Millions of volts. A lazy voice sounded, and thunder fell from the sky, blowing Luffy away. Thunder Alchemy. Thunder flashed, and the golden scepter in his hand turned into a spear and flew straight towards Luffy. Mloculent Karate, the sea current throws you over your shoulder. With a roar, the rising sea currents flew the golden spear away. Under the water, Enel lost his strength and fell on the ice. Thunder flashed, evaporating the sea water on his body, and he looked at Jinbe angrily. Yan turned his head when he heard the voice, and was relieved to see Mahler and Catherine leading the melee team of the 10 Commandments detachment to fight some escaped prisoner transvestites in Impel Down City. Fortunately, okay, the 2 of them are not stupid. However, when Yan saw Jinbe's behavior, he lowered his eyebrows and looked around. Mariah could not be found. Was he defeated by Jinbe? Glancing at Marco who was attacking again, Yavin charged up a blow to repel Marco and quickly left the battlefield. He still has another mission. In the town of Malinfando, Moria is running away, and Doflamingo is sitting on a bear, chasing him from behind. Moria gritted his teeth and ran away quickly. From time to time, a laser shot came out of the bear's mouth for sniping. Doflamingo manipulates the thread to attack. Hunting down a Shishibukai is really exciting. Yan was flying in mid-air, and when he saw this scene, he quickly looked for something else. Sure enough, in another place, he found the shadow of Moria. Doflamingo, Sengoku asked you to come. Moria was still useless after all. He was caught up, lying on the ground, and asked angrily. Looking down at Mariah, Doflamingo laughed and pointed to the sky. It's someone from above. Anger filled Mariah's body, the one above. It turned out to be someone from above. Those in power are indeed liars. However, Moria smiled strangely at Doflamingo and disappeared in the latter's shocked eyes. The huge Moria is gone. It was replaced by a shadow. Yan chased after Moria's shadow. Watching Shadow Moria transform into Moria. Mariah, who thought he had escaped, sat by the wall and wiped the sweat from his forehead. You're stupid, Doflamingo, I still have another move. Moria smiled proudly. After laughing, there is anger. The damn world government actually deceived me. When Moria thought about Wulioxing's promise to forgive him for his responsibility for the defeat as long as he made meritorious service in this war, but now he actually sent someone to assassinate him, it was really a bastard's behavior. Have you had enough rest? If it's enough, let's start the second game. Yan yawned and landed in front of Mariah, looking at him calmly. Moria showed a horrified expression and said hoarsely, Why? Why can't you let me go? Yan smiled contemptuously. Because you lost the battle. Another defeat. His pupils shrank sharply, and Mariah thought of the scene where he had just lost to Jinbi. It turned out to be the case. It turned out to be the case. Don't worry, I will kill you. We will write on the news that Mariah fought bravely and bloodily to maintain the dignity of the Shishibukai, and finally died at the hands of Whitebeard. Yan's words made Mariah unable to control his mood anymore. Shadow Horn Gun. The shadows under his feet quickly gathered and pierced toward Yan. Shave. He appeared behind Mariah in an instant, pierced his heart with a domineering knife, and twisted him hard, killing him. Darkness emerged and swallowed up Moria's body. After doing all this, Yan took out his phone and dialed Wulioxing. Moria has been successfully dealt with. Be silent on the other side. He is still defeated. Yes. Doflamingo didn't solve it. Moria's shadow fruit has the ability to swap the body and shadow. I carried out a second sniper attack. Wulioxing remained silent for a longer time this time. Doflamingo, irresponsible. Yes, pirates can't be trusted. What do you think of Doflamingo? He has a domineering heart but is full of insidious tricks and lacks domineering power. He acts with cunning means and always wants to convince others with his domineering power. In the end, he was not domineering, and his methods were not insidious enough. Not enough to be afraid of. Ah, go and join the war. Wulioxing hung up the phone. Arwen shrugged. He felt that his evaluation of Doflamingo was quite accurate. That guy is a two-faced person. He seems to be a smart man, but he is actually a fool. Yan returned to the battlefield again and immediately received orders from the warring states. Gradually retreat and prepare to implement the encirclement wall plan. Whitebeard went crazy. The sharp-eyed Yan saw the knife wound that penetrated Whitebeard's chest, and then looked at the bald man on Moby Dick. Yan couldn't help but complain, in order to deal with Whitebeard, I really will do whatever it takes. Facing the crazy Whitebeard, the navy retreated step by step. Yan grinned, flipped his dagger upside down, and rushed forward. Facing the rushing Yan, Whitebeard's shaking fruit covered his broadsword, and Yan's darkness covered his short sword. The two knives collided with each other, and the darkness swallowed and shocked Whitebeard. Full counterattack. The terrifying power on the broadsword was rebounded by the full counterattack, and Whitebeard was knocked back a few steps by his own strength. Yan looked at Whitebeard provocatively. Old man with white beard, you like to have sons so much, and that old lady Charlotte Lingling likes to have children. I heard that you two were on the same ship before, so why didn't you have a few children with her? Yan's bad-mouthed problem can't be controlled at all. Whitebeard covered his chest and stood up again. I won't hate you. You don't have to anger me. Instead, you should think about what to do. Before Yan could react, he saw Whitebeard clasping the air with his fingers and pulling hard, causing the entire island to turn over. Yan wanted to curse, so he rushed forward again with a knife. Whitebeard punched the air, and the huge impact blew Yan out. Made. The old guy reacted really quickly. Yan got up from the ground. This Whitebeard reacts really quickly. Chapter 85 The World's #1 Combat Power. What a monster! This is because in my old age, I cannot continue to display the domineering entanglement. Yan and the 2,000 Qing pheasants who came to help besieged Whitebeard from left to right. He complained while attacking. It's not that he is too cowardly, it's that the old guy opposite is too scary. If there weren't other naval generals around to help contain Whitebeard's captains, Yan felt that he and Aokiji would definitely be killed. All in all, it is difficult. Warring states stared at the battlefield and urged to encircle the wall. Why couldn't they get out? And why a phone bug got into Bucky's hands? It's all bad news. Warring states was in a slightly bad mood. Just now, Whitebeard overturned the sea and destroyed the navy's encirclement plan. Now there is only one move left to encircle the wall, and then the will battle. Warring states stared at Whitebeard with solemn eyes. This monster-like existence single-handedly shattered the navy's plan. It can be said to be crazy. Whitebeard used air shock to force Yan back, then knocked back Qing Pheasant, and took the time to punch him towards the execution platform. In this gap, Yan rushed forward and slashed Baybeard's chest with a knife. The huge air shock rushed towards the execution platform, crushing everything on the way. Just when all the pirates were looking forward to it, Whitebeard had no expectations at all. The smoke dispersed, and in front of the execution platform, Akainu and Kizaru stood there, raising their hands to block the move. Blue Pheasant! Warring states shouted softly. Ching Pheasant left instantly and jumped in the air. Frozen time capsule. Bucky turned into an ice sculpture before he could react. Yan smiled bitterly and backed away as well. Thunder has landed. On the other side, using thunder to force Jinbei back, Aniru summoned thunder to break the ice on the sea. The thunder that fell from the sky also stopped the charging pirates, buying time for the navy to retreat. Hellfire, wall of fire! Yan roared, and the terrifying hellfire rose from the ground, forcing the pirates back. A terrifying air shock came from in front of him, shattering the flames and hitting Yan's face. You mad Whitebeard! Yan was speechless. You guy, why are you so aggressive in your face? At this time, a huge surrounding wall quickly rose into the sky from the harbor. The navy climbed onto the siege wall from various places and entered their original combat positions. Different from the original work, this time, Little Ounce did not hold down a piece. Facing the surrounding walls, the pirates stared at the only Yan in the field. When the surrounding wall was raised, Enel had already left. There's another marine here, kill him. The pirates swarmed up. Yan smiled strangely, spread his wings, and rose into the sky. Stupid, I can fly. Whitebeard grabbed the air with his 10 fingers and pulled hard from top to bottom. The huge force pulled down the air. All the clouds in the sky fell. Yan was dragged toward the sea by huge force. You're stupid, I can make things happen. Whitebeard's eyes were full of provocation. Yan looked at the Whitebeard pirates who were besieging him from all directions, especially the fiery eyes. He felt like a pure girl surrounded by idiots. It's so scary that one can't help but shiver. Faced with this scene, Yan swallowed hard. How miserable! Fortunately, lava kept falling from the sky at this time. Whitebeard looked at the lava that was starting to fall in the sky, showing a trace of dignity. Warring States period, is this the tomb you chose for me? It's a pity that I don't like it. Whitebeard waved the big knife in his hand, wrapped in the power of the shock fruit, and was about to slash towards the sky. The pirates of the Whitebeard pirates are about to cheer, they have their almighty father here and are not afraid at all. Darkness consumes. The darkness that emerged out of thin air swallowed up the shock fruit ability on the knife. And Yan smiled. Old man with white beard, why do you think I stay here? Yan smiled proudly. The lava fell, and the terrifying heat boiled the sea. Kill. Marco took the lead and attacked Yan. 200 million volts, Kiran. The sky was filled with thunder. Enel stood in midair, holding his scepter high. It was obvious what he wanted to do. Terrifying thunder flashed in midair. This is the scariest place in the natural system. Destroy the world. Inspire nature. The pirates were all cold. Even the boiling sea cannot warm their bodies. Marco, Baista! Whitebeard shouted softly. Marco understood instantly. Baista also understood and rushed towards Yan. Stop Yan and don't let him affect his father's performance. Question, what should I do if I am attacked by two beings who can hold back generals? Yan answered. Try to resist. Diamond Josie is unable to function at this time. Marco and Baista are of great use. The two people attacked Yan frantically, not giving him a chance to perform. Don't let Yan influence Whitebeard at all. All means have been used. Marco, in particular, hugged Yan directly, his green flames burning, not letting him affect him. Yan finally stretched out a hand and wanted to cast darkness, but was pierced by Baista's sword. Whitebeard also finished accumulating power at this time. In the sky, Enelu completed the charging of thunder and lightning and waved fiercely towards the harbor. Thunder landed. Whitebeard slashed out with his sword, and the sky was split open at this moment. The terrifying power did not give the atmosphere time to collapse. Cut directly. The thunder falling all over the sky was easily split. After Whitebeard's knife fell, the air began to make a shattering sound, and the huge force blew the thunder that had not dissipated upside down. When Yavin broke free from Marco's green flames, what he saw was a terrifying scene of thunder flying back into the sky. Is this something a human can do? Yan finally understood why Whitebeard was called the #1 in the world. There's no fucking reason for this. Marco! Whitebeard shouted again. Marco understood. Another surge of green flames controlled Yan. Roll! When Yan thought of the feeling of green flames burning his body, darkness surged in his left hand, and he started fighting with Marco. Have you forgotten me? Yan turned his head and swung a wonderful sword with his right hand, slashing at Baista, forcing him back, and then attacked Marco with more force. How could I forget? Jan could never forget the scene when Baista pierced his arm with a knife just now. No one can forget him. Under the sea water, a black shadow flashed across. Mloculent karate, the sea current throws you over your shoulder. The sea water rose into the sky. Jan sneered, do you think I am unprepared? Underfoot, darkness surged, swallowing the water. Just when Jan was proud that he was fighting Marco, slashing Baista and swallowing the sea water, a gunshot appeared. 2 bullets flew out of the gun in Izzo's hand not far away. Mad, there is a layer hidden above, what a bastard. As soon as Jan's momentum was gone, Marco quickly started to take action, and Qingjian stepped up his attack on darkness. Chapter 86. On the execution platform, Garp calmly watched Enilo's thunder unicorn being split open by Whitebeard. Warring States also had no reaction to the Kylan being split open. The same is true for the 3 generals and the lieutenant generals. Sure enough, in the end, it still depends on the wheel battle. Hearing the sound of Whitebeard punching the wall one after another, Sengoku sighed softly. He really didn't want to take that step. But Whitebeard will not surrender easily, which makes him very irritated. Akainu, go ahead. His arms turned into lava, and Akainu began to exert strength. Meteor volcano. Jan, who was wrapped in Marco's green flames, covered his body with darkness and carefully looked at everything around him. After confirming that the captains had been deceived by him, he raised his head to look at the falling lava in the sky and breathed a sigh of relief. Not bad. The artillery on the surrounding wall began to fire wildly to attack the pirates. Whitebeard wasn't interested in the lava at all, he just used his shock fruit ability to punch the wall facing the square one after another. Under Whitebeard's attack, sizzling sounds kept coming. The navy surrounding the wall was numbed by the huge echo. Mahler, who entered it early, suddenly realized something was wrong. Retreat, quickly pull out the surrounding wall. The lieutenant general in charge also found out and quickly arranged for the navy surrounding the wall to withdraw. Take the safe passage and leave quickly. And it was at this time that the connection between the surrounding walls finally broke due to the huge force of the air shock and the back and forth shock. The surrounding wall crashed into the square, and countless sailors saw Whitebeard rushing out driving an outer ship through the light. The 3 generals all sneered, that's it? Even if you make an opening, you will be buried in it today. Aokiji, Kizaru and Akainu raised their hands together. Frozen time capsule. 8-foot Kyangu Jade. Big fire. 3 huge masses of elemental energy rushed straight towards Whitebeard's last ship. Marco let go of Jan and rushed over quickly to block it with his body. Watching Marco leave, Jan chuckled, like a good friend. Marco rushed to the 3 rays of natural energy and transformed into a giant phoenix. As long as he has enough physical strength, he is immortal. Marco, who is full of confidence, is confident that he will have no problem. Facing such a confident Marco, Jan raised his hand. Dark reincarnation. The darkness falling from the sky was about to swallow Marco up in an instant. Fish bite. A figure jumped out of the sea, opened its bloody mouth and bit Jan's arm. Namuji, the fishman of the Whitebeard pirates. Jan was angry. Do you think you can interrupt me? Darkness instantly swallowed Marco, and his abilities disappeared. 3 terrifying energies, light bullets pierced his body, ice froze his upper body, and lava attacked his lower body. He was instantly seriously injured and fell into the sea. Many people jumped off Moby Dick to rescue people in the sea. Whitebeard raised his hand and Kong Zhen was about to attack Yan. Raising the mirror in his hand, Yan sneered. Come on Whitebeard. Even your son will be attacked. Anyway, I'm not afraid. 3 blasts of energy knock Marco down and continue moving forward. Whitebeard was not afraid at all. Shake the fruits, shake everything, and move forward with energy. The 3 generals worked together to block it. The 2 sides began to exchange waves. Sea flow over his shoulder. With a roar of the fishman, a huge current rolled up a boat pole and rose into the sky. Countless people were surprised. What happened? It is necessary to rely on a boat pole to sneak attack the 3 generals. How could you be allowed to succeed? Shave. Doberman jumped up to block. Death wink. The shock wave blocked Doberman. Luffy fell to the ground through the waves. Jinbei and Ivankov also entered by climbing over the surrounding wall at this time. Gathered around Luffy. However, compared to Luffy's energy, the 2 of them looked extremely ugly. When Whitebeard and the three majors faced each other, Yan was also entangled by Bista and Izzo. Leaving behind Muir, Yan chose to leave. Without Marco and Whitebeard entangled, he also left. As for a sneak attack on Whitebeard, just look at the group of captains surrounding him and you will know that it is impossible, completely impossible. It's not like the Whitebeard pirates are without talented people. There are many people who cannot defeat him alone, but there are still many people who can take 1 or 2 moves and fight for a period of time. Just like General Star, 3 Disasters, and the previous captains of the Whitebeard pirates, it would be impossible for them to defeat Hawkeye and the 3 generals. They can only hang around for a while. For the rest, no more can be done. Over time, failure is common. Yan left decisively and did not go there to join in the fun. Flying into the square, Catherine immediately gave him medicine to replenish his strength. Yan glanced at the surrounding navy. Not bad, all the injured have been transferred out, and the new ones are from the reserve army. This is what war should be like. Replace it if you can to extend the vitality of the battle. Yan was in a good mood. Countless marines tried to stop Luffy, but they still failed. The 3 generals were still blocked by him. Ivankov and Jinbe knew what their mission was and what they should do as soon as they came in. Interrupt the confrontation between the 3 generals and let Whitebeard enter. As foreign ships entered the square, the war also entered its climax. Akainu stepped towards Moby Dick, with the obvious goal of dragging Whitebeard back. Kizaru stood in a place where he could be supported at any time, while Aokiji walked in another direction. Rescue Ace! Whitebeard yelled, asking the others to rescue him quickly. Just now, Sengoku ordered the execution. If Crocodile hadn't killed the executioner by surprise, Ace would have died. Everything is going on quickly, and Whitebeard already understands that his old rival Sengoku is pursuing victory and the destruction of their Whitebeard pirates. For Sengoku, everything else is trivial. Only the destruction of their Whitebeard pirates is a big deal. As for the means, it doesn't matter whether it's wonderful or not. Akainu attacks Whitebeard, Kizaru prepares support, and Aokiji prepares to take over. The battle between the 3 major generals has officially begun. Although it has some shameless meaning. The surrounding navy seized the opportunity to attack with guns and cannons. Whitebeard's captains also took action to stop the naval generals. People from the pirate fleet who came in from the periphery began to look for the existence of the lieutenant general and major general level. The melee begins. Yan flew to the execution platform and guarded it. Sitting on the execution platform, lighting a cigarette that I haven't smoked for a long time. Handing one to Garp, the old guy started smoking. War only has its most cruel side, and there is nothing anyone can do about it. Those pirates will definitely die in the navy's siege. When the executioner arrived again, Yan smiled at Mr. 3, grabbed his collar and threw him down. It's Brother 3. Bucky's group who sneaked in couldn't help shouting. Brother 3 is so awesome, is he executing such a powerful plan? Sengoku glared angrily at the colonel who was leading the group. Go and bring 2 more. The huge naval headquarters has no shortage of executioners. It is impossible to kill by yourself. Chapter 87 is about to begin. The war in the square entered its most brutal aspect. Neither the navy nor the Whitebeard pirates have any special means to use, and the 2 sides can only start the most brutal battle. Luffy, protected by Ivankov and Jinbei, charged wildly, but it didn't help. Facing the defensive barrier formed by vice admirals and rear admirals, they were unable to break through. Under the siege of the 3 generals, Whitebeard also began to show his fatigue. In Moby Dick, Marco is treated by the ship's doctor. The simplest way to treat Marco is to inject him with energy and revive him. After the phoenix fruit was injected with energy by the ship's doctor, it began to exert force in Marco's body, and the power kept awakening. The original frostbite and burns also recovered quickly under the burning of Kinjian. Pug! Ching Pheasant seizes the opportunity to freeze Whitebeard. The ice shattered, and Whitebeard chopped the green pheasant into pieces. Akainu attacked at the right time, using his magma arms to surge up and attack with weapons. Whitebeard activates the shock fruit and punches each other. At the end of the hedging, Kizaru launched a laser attack and was chopped into pieces by Whitebeard. This is the unreasonable thing about being domineering. No matter what kind of attack you make, as long as I am domineering enough, I can easily crush you. In the original work, Zifa uses his mechanical arm to break Kizaru's lightspeed kick into several pieces. As time passed, 2 executioners arrived. Anything else to say? Sengoku hesitated and asked Ace. Ace was stunned. Could he still speak? Yuan curled his lips and said nothing. Seeing the arrival of the executioner, the Whitebeard pirates were distraught, but they still did not rush forward. AI. Before Straw Hat Luffy finished yelling, Catherine, who was rushing from behind, raised her hand and froze him with a blast of air. Yuan said that he could not be allowed to speak. You girl! The Empress wanted to kick Catherine away in anger, but the lustful man reminded him frantically that as long as you kick her, your leg will be broken immediately. The Empress looked up angrily and found Yuan looking at him with a smile, and the weapon in his hand had the tendency to strike at any time. That man! Force yourself to calm down. On the battlefield, anything can happen. At the same time, everything must be careful on the battlefield. When Ivankov was angry, he suddenly heard Yavin's voice. Ivan, this is Yuan. Be prepared to fly away at any time and take Ace's body with you. I will go to the transvestite island to find you. Ivankov looked at Yavin on the execution platform and nodded to express his understanding. He believed in Yuan. He has met Yuan. Ace hesitated for a while and then said, Dad, thank you. 5 simple words expressed all of Ace's emotions. Yuan pouted, so heartless. Garp has protected you for more than 10 years, but it's not as emotional as Whitebeard's for a few years. Do you know how much Garp has paid for you? As the execution was about to take place, Garp couldn't help but shed tears. Tears of pain. Hatred that he was powerless, and that Ace didn't listen to him. If Ace had listened to him honestly, this scene wouldn't have happened today. Then no one will have to suffer. A painful life comes from not listening to the old man. Ivankov grabbed Jinbei. Jinbei, I'm going to be ready to run away. Jinbei saw that Ivankov did not thaw Luffy, but asked his subordinates to protect Luffy. Although he didn't know why Ivankov wanted to help Luffy, he knew that Ivankov absolutely didn't care about the death of the Whitebeard pirates. After a moment of hesitation, looking at Whitebeard still fighting hard, Jinbei said without hesitation, Okay, I will contact Miura later and ask him to help you find a way out. I will also help Dad. Ivankov agreed very much that if he wanted to leave, he had to take advantage of the war when it was at its most brutal and no one could control it. The executioner's sword fell, the Whitebeard pirates were officially defeated, and Ace died. Garp shed tears of hatred. Warring States breathed a sigh of relief. Then he became serious again, and the most important thing next was to destroy the Whitebeard pirates. At least leave a Whitebeard. Sengoku jumped off the execution platform, handed over the command to He, and walked to the battlefield alone. Yuan threw away the cigarette in his hand, sat down opposite Ace, touched his chest lightly with his palm, and a red light ball flew out from his chest. Yuan quickly put it away and put it into the darkness. Garp couldn't help but widen his eyes. What's going on? Yuan shushed quietly, indicating that he should be quiet and that there was no one around. I contacted Ivankov and asked him to take away the bodies of Luffy and Ace. Later, you can find a way to break the execution platform and create an opportunity for him. I can resurrect Ace, but I have to live under a different identity. Garp instantly understood and understood. The brain that had not been functioning for many years was now functioning rapidly. Then another quick pause. The result he concluded was that his grandson would not die, but would have to change his identity. Ivankov will protect his 2 grandsons and escape. What he has to do now is to fight against evil with all his life, increase the intensity of the war, and create opportunities for his grandson to escape. Okay, got it. Garp's anger returned instantly. There is no battle that Garp cannot solve. As long as Ace doesn't die and Luffy is fine, he won't care if any pirate dies in this war. Iron Fist. Garp flew up and hit Whitebeard with a powerful and heavy punch from the air. Whitebeard is just at the moment when his old strength has just left and new strength has not yet arisen. He reluctantly raised his knife to stop him, but was severely punched and knocked backwards. Enter Naval Hero Cap. The Navy's momentum instantly increased to its peak. Warring States and the 3 generals looked at Yuan on the execution platform. What did this guy say to Garp that made this old man burst out with such great power? Strange. However, no matter how strange it is, there is no time to pursue it. Anyway, Garp has officially joined the war, and all they have to do is pursue a perfect victory. As Garp and Sengoku also joined the battlefield, the Whitebeard pirates instantly entered a decline. Whitebeard decisively overturned the sea again, triggering a tsunami and destroying the Navy's offensive. A punch created a crack behind him, separating the Whitebeard pirates and the Navy. All the Whitebeard pirates, leave quickly and return to the New World. The Whitebeard pirates looked at Whitebeard in shock. Marco walked out of Moby Dick, his eyes full of sadness. I am already old and can no longer sail. In the new era, there is no ship to carry me, and you have just set sail. Go back to the New World. Whitebeard faced Sengoku, Garp, the three generals, and many lieutenant generals alone with his chest full of wounds, and said loudly. Leave a smooth, scarless back to your sons. The war is about to break out again. Akainu took the lead and rushed towards Whitebeard. Facing Kizaru and Aokiji who wanted to attack the Whitebeard pirates behind them, Whitebeard detonated air shocks with one punch after another. The huge air impact force made it impossible for them to rush past, truly bringing the entire battlefield under his control. Attack range. Even though they were about to die, they still insisted on fighting. Such a style made the three generals helpless. During the battle, the execution platform was shaken and collapsed, leaving Ace's body behind. Ivankov took the opportunity to get the body and left quickly. With the ladyboys in tow, Ivankov began to look for the departing ship. In the process, he was discovered by Akainu. Stop him! Many members of the Whitebeard pirates saw Ace's body being taken away and excitedly stepped forward to respond. Take Ace's body back to the New World. Whitebeard smiled with satisfaction. Start attacking with more force. Chapter 88 Blazing. Really ignorant. Arwen saw Akainu chasing after Ace's body and Luffy, and the veins on his forehead rioted. This guy. In particular, Akainu's strength is too tyrannical. Even if he can only use %% to %% of his strength at this time, it is definitely not something that ordinary people can stop. Take a deep breath and give the excited Garp a look. You must not move at this time. Wow, who is that? Suddenly a navy shouted. Yan turned his head and saw a terrifying giant hiding behind the Marine Vondo building. With a flick of his hand, he flew forward with a slash. He was stopped in midair by another flying slash. Yan felt the murderous aura in the air and was in a bad mood. This murderous aura is Shiryu of the Rain. At some point, Hawkeye came over, folded his arms, and the old god said in a calm voice. Ha 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 ha, thief, Shiryu, you are so famous. Blackbeard laughed and walked out of hiding, flanked by members of the Blackbeard pirates. The great battleship, San Juan Wolf. The king of evil below Pizarro. Swanyu Hunter Caitlin Daime. Big Wine Basque Shote. They are all legendary pirates. Some marines were so frightened that they sat on the ground. Yan frowned and stared at him unhappily. Get up, you are a navy man. Is this combination a useless alliance formed by a lost dog and a group of losers? Raising his eyebrows, Yan ended the tense atmosphere with an understatement. The surrounding navy looked at Yan in surprise. This was a legendary pirate. Even the Whitebeard pirates looked at Yan in shock. Do you know what you are talking about? Blackbeard laughed, as if he didn't care at all. Tich! Whitebeard roared, rushed towards Teach, and slashed hard with his knife. Looking at the power of the shock fruit on it, Blackbeard showed an excited expression. Just wait for me to trick you, Dad. Dark water. Darkness emerges, trying to swallow the power of the shock fruit. When Whitebeard saw the darkness, he subconsciously withdrew the power of the shock fruit, and struck Blackbeard directly in the chest with a vicious knife. At that moment, Blackbeard's eyes widened. Why? Dad, why did you suddenly cancel the fruit ability? When he fell, Blackbeard was confused. Yan smiled. That's good, because I tricked you, Blackbeard. Zilliu, where are Magellan and Yuxiao? Warring States couldn't help but ask. Xilu snorted coldly and replied disdainfully, who knows? However, the sharp-eyed Yan saw the wounds under their clothes. Feeling their modest vitality, a smile appeared on his lips. It looks like he was beaten badly too. Whitebeard slashed Blackbeard, causing hidden injuries to his body. At this time, he was much more seriously injured than in the original work. The Blackbeard pirates attacked Whitebeard crazily, and Yan breathed a sigh of relief and prepared to turn around and leave. The moment he turned his head, blood-colored flying slashes attacked. When the crisis hit, he ducked sideways and Yan turned around. Blackbeard Teach, you are looking for death. Yan's clear eyes now showed anger. Shiryu pulled out his sword and walked slowly. Yan sneered, raised a hell flame bird and exploded it to attack. Draw your sword and chop. Shiryu stepped forward unceremoniously. Boom! A terrifying slash appeared, and Hawkeye jumped in front of Shiliu. In that battle, I didn't try my best, but today I can finally kill a master. Hawkeye, who was holding a black knife, smiled. Yan was confused about Hawkeye's intervention. What was going on? Seeing Hawkeye intervening in the battle, Sengoku breathed a sigh of relief and said soothingly, the condition for Hawkeye to become the Shishibukai back then was that he was allowed to challenge the masters of the navy. What a reason to be speechless! Yan said that this was the first time he had heard of this strange reason. Warring States shook his head aside. This is not unusual. You don't know any other reason. Shiliu was caught by Hawkeye and began a life-and-death sword fight. Arvin stared at Blackbeard. The war has begun again. The Blackbeard pirates started team battle mode, and the physical arts masters headed by the King of Evil and Daju attacked Whitebeard to their heart's content. Blackbeard assisted them with the dark fruit from behind. Absorb Whitebeard's shock fruit ability. Finding an opening, Yan suddenly appeared in front of the King of Evil and Daju, smiling strangely. Full counterattack. The long-charged attacks of the two were rebounded, and the two fell back vomiting blood. Whitebeard took the opportunity to jump up, grabbed Blackbeard's neck, and pushed him to the ground. Warring States and others turned a blind eye to Yan's actions. The three greats will attack the Whitebeard pirates. The Warring States period was frantically contacting Impel Down City. Nothing can happen there. The bug picked up the phone, and Warring States asked anxiously, how's the situation in Impel Down? Pushing into the city, Yuxiao sat among the ruins and said in a heavy voice, sorry, Mr. Warring States, I failed to kill Blackbeard and his party. We also let 3 heavyweight criminals, Barrett, Redfield, and Valder, go. The tired voice made Sengoku's heart tighten. What about the rest? Anyone else? Warring States is more concerned about other people. These 3 can still be caught, mainly other people, among them there is also a weird fruit ability user. Nothing. It's just these people. The rest of the criminals will be killed. Pushing into the first floor of the city, Magellan walked up with his body covered, and what he saw was a pile of corpses. Countless pirates who had shocked the sea and committed countless crimes were now dead. Illusionist. Magician. Dark warrior. Butcher. A mortal sin. Magellan counted them one by one and found that these monsters that were originally sealed in the 6th layer, the terrifying existences that once roamed the sea, were all dead. Only a few of the most terrifying pirates escaped. On the sea, sitting on a small boat, Barrett's face turned pale as he rowed hard. Across the way, Redfield lay half lying dead. Barrett never expected that there would be such a terrifying monster in the navy. When he first debuted, he could challenge Rayleigh with his terrifying talent. I never expected that I would encounter such a terrifying monster just after leaving Impel Down today. What a presence this is! Warring States received a smile in reply and couldn't help laughing out loud. Well, that's fine. Both Valder and Redfield are old and have only a few years left to live. Barrett is not a criminal who enjoys killing. This ending is acceptable. As expected of the chosen monster. Warring States was very satisfied. When Sengoku came back to his senses, he saw that the battlefield had reached a state of madness. The Whitebeard pirates cover Ivankov's escape. Whitebeard and Arvin inexplicably join forces to fight against the Blackbeard pirates. The pirates led by Doflamingo were watching the show. Only Hawkeye is fighting Shiliu. The overall situation is getting out of control. Finally, Whitebeard could no longer bear the wear and tear on his body. With the news that the great secret treasure is real, Whitebeard officially comes to an end. Sengoku's face was gloomy. Garp has no idea, he now wants to kill Akainu. Akainu, on the other hand, felt Garp's fiery gaze and smiled back. Don't worry, Lieutenant General Garp. I know you will kill your relatives out of necessity, but I can't let you do this. I'm here to help you. Akainu replied with fiery eyes. Chapter 89 Beating the Red Hair. The Whitebeard is gone. The great secret treasure really exists. The news was played out by a single telephone bug. Yan felt that Warring States should be happy. The era of great pirates will become more and more rampant, and the existence of the navy will continue. This is a very important point. Moreover, the more rampant the pirates are, the corruption rate and other degeneration rates within the navy will be alleviated. More and more righteous people will join the navy. The world government can no longer reduce naval military expenditures year by year because of the stability of the sea. Overall, their navy still made a profit. Still making a lot of money. I really appreciate you, Whitebeard. Yan said that he was in a happy mood at this moment. Only when the navy becomes more righteous and existential can he live safer. Whitebeard's body stood there. Yan stood next to him, lit a cigarette, stared at Blackbeard calmly, and grinned. The palm of his hand gently covered the Whitebeard's remains. Hell Flame Bird. A huge hellfire bird wrapped around the body appeared and burned on the spot. Do not. Blackbeard's eyes are about to burst. I heard that the dark fruit can limit the rebirth of the recently deceased ability user within a certain range. I don't know if it's true or not. I'll try destroying the body first. Yan said it very easily, and Blackbeard was very angry when he heard it. Teach, should we disband? Your plan failed. Let me be the captain. The evil king laughed. Blackbeard looked gloomily, swept the evil king fiercely, and said with a sly smile, do you want to die? Murderous wanton. However, before he could feel so free, he felt a sense of powerlessness coming over him. At the same time, as Whitebeard's body burned, the Whitebeard pirate's hatred for Yan also began to rise crazily. Akainu smiled as he looked at the pirates who fell down one after another due to powerlessness. Especially when some of the captains surrounding him fell down due to powerlessness. Akainu was really excited. So cool. Yan did the right thing. Ivankov and Jinbe were still running away with the bodies of Luffy and Ace, and headed straight for the seaside. Jinbe was confident enough to jump into the sea and take them away. Jumping off the harbor, when I was jumping into the sea, I was covered in ice and met a blue pheasant. Death Wink. Ice Age. The raging ice wave hit several people. Ivankov blinked frantically, unable to stop the wave of ice at all. Sandstorm. Huge sandstorms kept rising, blocking the ice wave. If you have to run for your life, run away. Crocodile's forehead was bleeding, he bit his cigar and said domineeringly. Jinbe and Ivankov didn't say much and accelerated their escape. At this time, on the seaside, Lightning, who had been sent out by Ivankov early, had appeared on a warship with a group of human monsters. At the same time, a submarine also appeared here. Ivankov looked at Luo, jumped onto the submarine, grabbed Luo and jumped back onto the warship. Go to the transvestite island. Shout out to the sub. The battle is about to continue. A domineering energy that shocked the world appeared. The terrifying overlord-colored haki shattered the ice on the sea, shocking the weak-willed pirate navy to the ground. At the same time, all navy pirates were asked to stop. The red-haired man took firm steps and led his subordinates to appear. At the same time, he scanned everything around him. Aramaki is guarding the new world, how did you get here? Akainu asked, holding his magma fist. The red-haired man ignored him and looked at Sengoku. I'm here to stop the war. End this senseless war. If there is anyone who hasn't fought enough, let me fight. The officers of the red-haired pirates collectively stood behind the red-haired man. Marco and other Whitebeard pirates, cotters and remaining pirates also entered the red-haired queue one after another. Another group of 4 emperors arrived. It's really jaw-dropping. When's the war? It's your turn as a pirate to stop it. Garp, Sengoku, are you two cowards? A warship of the highest level came swaying from a short distance away. It seemed unhurried. Peach Rabbit stood on it. On the warship stood a group of Navy soldiers with no damage at all and in good military appearance. Next to Peach Rabbit stood Fitz, whom he hadn't seen for a long time, and the voice rang from the phone bug he held in his hand. A question excited the hawks in the Navy. I'm here to fight with you. Damn redhead. The iron fist smashed down, and the red hair instantly activated the Overlord color coil, and started fighting Garp. Kizaru vs Beckman. Akainu faced off against a series of captains such as Marco, and Aokiji faced off against several cotters of the red-haired group. Sengoku picked up the Great Buddha and also joined the battlefield, besieging the red-haired man with Garp. It is impossible to fight alone. One must risk one's life to deal with beings of this level. Peach Rabbit went straight to Yan and fought with him against the Blackbeard pirates. Blackbeard watched Whitebeard's body turn into ashes, and several of his big pirates no longer wanted to continue working with him. Licking his lips, Yan got excited. Here, take care of Blackbeard and it's all over. As the war with the red hair started, the 3 generals no longer had the intention to deal with Luffy. Things have their own priorities. If the red hair is killed now, they will dare to draw out their troops to fight against Wano and all nations. Especially the country of Wano, they dared to use meteor volcanoes and meteorites to fall from the sky to directly destroy them, and they were not a franchising country anyway. Therefore, the main thing we have to deal with now is red hair. Compared with the red hair, Luffy running away is a small problem. No matter how strong Luffy is, several lieutenant generals can easily destroy him. The red-haired man truly felt how strong Garp was without worries. The Overlord's color entanglement is of little use to him. What this old man pursues is to defeat all methods with one force, to suppress everything with strength, and to suppress you. The top-notch weapon's domineering power is so hard and terrifying that it suppresses everything. Every blow is so powerful and heavy that you can only take it head-on. It's so stressful that you can't get up. Moreover, this old man also has a fearless aura, an aura that despises everything and despises everything. It's just the Overlord's lust. It's not like I haven't broken it before. Old Roger has been beaten before, let alone a brat like you. As Garp fought more and more courageously and became more and more powerful, the red-haired man was suppressed by him and Sengoku and retreated step by step. There was a bang. Jesus Buletin supported the red hair from behind, interrupting Garp's momentum. But Sengoku took the opportunity to stand up and slapped the red hair with his palm. There was no one around, and the last external phone call bug was killed. Sengoku sneered. Overlord color entanglement. Who wouldn't think so? The overbearing color flew out from Sengoku's body, wrapped around his palms, and slapped the red hair. The same terrifying Overlord color caused the red-haired man, who was suppressed by Garp, to spurt out a mouthful of blood. These two monsters. The red-haired man who finally got up looked at Sengoku Garp in shock. Is this the monster that once suppressed an era? The red-haired pirates were shocked by the extent of the Navy's full strength. This is too scary. Chapter 90 Want to Kill. The battlefield was raging over there, and Yan also officially took aim at Blackbeard and his party. Hawkeye and Shirley were already excited. Yan aimed at Blackbeard and his party. After Peach Rabbit joined, the battle became more brisk. Fitz looked around, then turned to join Yan's side of the battlefield. Finger gun missile. He jumped up and fired like a machine gun, directly covering the Blackbeard pirates. Buffett flew up and blocked it with his sword. Fitz smiled easily. I heard that you also served the country before. Coincidentally, I did too. Buffett flew into the sky, Fitz followed, and the two placed the battlefield in the air. Arwen rushed towards Blackbeard, Badgers tried to stop him, but Mahler rushed forward and punched him. Our 10 Commandments detachment is not dead yet. Catherine found Xian Yu Hunter. Hey, has our Major General ever been pointed at a gun one day? Renault came swaying from behind, carrying a gun. Yan smiled, my subordinates are still very good. The snipers also began their own confrontation. Counting the Evil King, the huge battleship, the big drink and Blackbeard himself, Yan felt happy. Yan, there are 4 of us now, and you only have 2. How do you want to fight? 2 against 1, you're screwed. Yan smiled. It's you who have been surrounded by the 2 of us. Yan's smile was full of sarcasm. Blackbeard was stunned, what did this mean? But it didn't matter anymore, a ferocious smile rang out, and after he recovered, he knew that he couldn't hate him at this time, he could only treat it calmly. The huge battleship was struck with one palm, and the strong wind it brought up was terrifying. Yan met the palm. Full counterattack. The huge battleship was directly shaken back by his palm, and then Yan flew up regardless of the reactions of Blackbeard, King of Evil and others. It's just trash in size, what's so scary about it? Slash shatter the sky. A sword filled with anger struck the huge battleship with terrifying power. Blood flew out. Yan didn't care at all and rushed over, and the Hell Flame Bird activated. Terrifying hellfire burned in his wounds. Dark water. Blackbeard wanted to rescue and attracted Yan with his ability. Peach Rabbit bent forward and drew his sword to strike. The King of Evil and Daju ran away when they saw this scene. That's right, just ran away. In Blackbeard's frightened and angry eyes, he ran away. He drew his sword and slashed at Blackbeard's arm. He quickly retracted it, clenched his palm into a fist, and struck forward. All the fingers fell off. Even the armed haki was cut off by the terrifying force. Blackbeard's eyes widened and he looked at his broken finger in confusion. There was not much pain, but his finger was easily cut off. You know, those are armed and domineering fingers. Why? Peach Rabbit did not explain at all and continued to attack. Blackbeard quickly put on a finger tiger for himself and fought with the weapon. A strange scene happened again, and the command was cut off. Dark water. Blackbeard activated his power fiercely, attracting Peach Rabbit. And then, it didn't work at all. Peach Rabbit held his knife and continued to step forward, continued to swing his weapon, and slashed hard. Blackbeard wanted to escape, but met Yawn falling from the sky again. One after another, the two blocked the attack. Shiliu on the other side also began to fall into a disadvantage when faced with Hawkeye's violent attacks. Blackbeard glanced around and saw that his proud partners were all at a disadvantage. Especially Buffett, who may be finished at any time. If you want me to die, don't even think about it. Blackbeard roared angrily. Countless darkness radiated from around him. Yawn smiled. Dark erosion. An even more terrifying darkness appeared, swallowing up Blackbeard's darkness in his shocked eyes. It's you. It's you. It turned out to be you. Blackbeard couldn't help but roar. He finally understood the reason why Whitebeard decisively changed his tactics after meeting his darkness. It's because I was tricked by Yawn. In a moment of confusion, Dao Tuo appeared in front of him and cut off his head with a knife. Nothing stands in the way. Blackbeard is officially dead. Peach Rabbit finished this scene calmly and began to support other battlefields. I don't need support. Hawkeye fought off Shiliu and spoke calmly. The pleasure of killing a great swordsman can only be enjoyed by himself and cannot be shared with others. Shiliu didn't know whether he should cry or laugh. What he was crying about was that he was caught by Hawkeye and deceived by Blackbeard, and he hated himself for not escaping. What's funny is that Hawkeye didn't ask anyone else to support him. As long as he defeated Hawkeye, he would have a chance to escape. Then when Xi Lu was still thinking wildly, Hawkeye stabbed him straight in the heart with a cunning sword. The black knife turned and chopped the heart. Looking at the fallen body, he whispered, although I don't know why you paused for a moment, this is a sword show, not a joke. Hawkeye put away his sword and walked aside. He was very happy in this battle and killed a great swordsman. In the sky, Fitz seized the opportunity, shattered Buffett's sword with one finger, and killed him with a ragged kick. Catherine transformed into a white tiger and used the Ice Age skill learned from Qing Pheasant to kill Xian Yu Hunter. Mahler defeated Badgers. Renault also beat Van Oka. The war here ended quickly. Yawn and Dao Tu rushed to the other side of the battlefield. At this time, the Navy and pirates were in a stalemate. Seeing the two top masters released by the Navy, everyone in the red-haired pirate group frowned. Yawn rushed into the battlefield between warring states and Garp, and seized the opportunity to counterattack with a full blow, causing the red-haired man to eat his own ultimate move. Restrain you to death. Then he was shot back by Jesus Bulletin. Garp took the opportunity to give the red hair another punch, and the Sengoku shockwave quickly captured it. The red hair was seriously injured in an instant. Jesus stopped accusing his strength and kept firing the musket in his hand. On the other side, Akainu's hands turned into lava, and he fought bloody battles with Marco and Josie of the Whitebeard pirates. Originally there were other captain-level existences. When the red-haired pirate was rushed into the battlefield by Yawn, and Peach Rabbit was about to enter the battlefield of the Lieutenant General, Beckman of the red-haired pirates quickly asked the captain of the white-bearded pirates to free him and stop trying to surround and kill Akainu. Come out quickly and save people. Both sides are now looking for ways to exchange pieces for pieces at the minimum cost. Liberate combat power in the form of exchange. Vista and the other captains hurried out to deal with Pichu Sajai and the others. Death-defying. Beckman's invincible brain began to work. Then I realized it was useless. The Navy has too many high-end combat capabilities. Members of the Ten Commandments detachment also joined the war one after another. And that fits from CP. None of these people are easy to deal with, they are all extremely difficult to deal with. Facing these people, they work out. They are really hard. Beckman needs to find a way to save them. The red-haired pirates are out. Garp and Sengoku team up to really beat the redhead to death. It's too dangerous. Just as Yawn was about to join the battlefield again to kill the red-haired man, a yellow-haired swordsman escaped from Qing Pheasant's grasp and came straight towards him, shouting while running. Beckman, think of a way quickly, this won't work. Sengoku and Garp are getting more and more excited. Beckman felt that Kizaru, who was facing him, also began to exert force. Look at Aokiji, who Lucky is fighting against, and he is also starting to try to bring more pirates into his battlefield. They want to keep us here too. Beckman smiled bitterly. Now it is not whether they want to weaken the Navy's combat effectiveness, but the Navy wants to destroy them. The war continues, the navy becomes more and more excited, and it becomes more and more difficult to fight back the thieves. Until the red hair was knocked to the ground again by Garp. A flash of sword light forced Garp and Sengoku back. Countless threads were flying all over the sky, controlling the navy. An air cannon blew Kizaru apart. The war stopped again. Sengoku looked at the three Shishibukai. What do you want? The sullen look on his face made him want to kill someone. Chapter 91 Follow-up. Kizaru reorganized his body and looked at the bear in surprise. Vegapunk, what the hell is that man thinking? The ghost spider manipulates the hair to cut the thread behind it. The other lieutenant generals used their methods to cut off the thread. And began to help the people below cut the thread. Doflamingo was not surprised by their actions. When the strength reaches a certain level, you can feel it soon. In addition, he just affects everyone's actions. Facing Sengoku's questioning, Garp gradually stepped forward to press him. Hawkeye gave the red-haired look a look and said expressionlessly, "It's nothing. I just feel that as the King Shishibukai, we should obey the orders of the world government." Hearing the word world government, Sengoku's face became even more gloomy. The three generals and Garp next to him also became gloomy. Mud, they are confident that they can fight with the Shishibukai, but the world government is now holding their economic lifeline and cannot move at will. This is very disturbing. Sengoku took a deep breath and tried to calm himself down. Marshal Waring states, "I suggest you listen to the words of those big shots." Doflamingo smiled proudly from the side. "It's just a navy, easy to control." Yan retreated to the other side and stood with Ching Pheasant. "I look at my eyes, my nose, and my heart, but I don't know what I'm thinking." Fitz awkwardly came over with a phone bug. Waring States answered the call on the battlefield. "Sengoku, it's time to end the war. Why do we have to stop at this time? We are going to add another layer to the victory and solve the two Yonko regiments at once." Having said this, Sengoku paused and glanced at the Shishibukai group. Except for the Empress who left because of chasing Straw Hat Luffy, he continued, "And if the Shishibukai rebelled, we can kill them on the spot." At this moment, Waring State's murderous intention did not restrain at all. The surging overlord color changed the color of the entire sky. Unabashed domineering king. Wulaoxing snorted coldly and continued, "Whitebeard is dead. You should first find a way to swallow Whitebeard's sea area before talking about other things. We have other plans regarding the red hair and Shishibukai." Hang up the phone after speaking. The Warring States period crushed the phone bug and killed it. "If you hadn't held the financial power of the navy, I would have killed you." On the other side, the red-haired man gathered his subordinates, plus the remnants of the Whitebeard pirates. Facing the furious Sengoku, he laughed miserably, "Then everyone, please stop in the name of me preventing the war." Akainu clenched his fists. Just now was the best time. During the phone call, these pirates reorganized their formation, and now they are even more difficult to attack. "I'll give you 1 hour to get out of Malinfando." Warring States said word for word. The war is over. The Navy began extensive rescue operations. The medical team that had been prepared long ago came by boat from nearby islands. Treat injured soldiers. Red Hair and others took away the injured pirates as quickly as possible. At the same time, the Navy swept the battlefield and cleared away the debris. Start dealing with various post-war matters. The next day, ordinary people woke up to newsbirds flying all over the sky and newspapers flying all over the sky. Headline: Whitebeard died in battle, and the Whitebeard pirates were defeated. One of the Shishibukai, Blackbeard Teach, rebelled and was killed by the Navy rookie Yan. Moria, one of the Shishibukai, died in a tragic war. He died fighting with his true heart to fight for the world. The world government felt its dedication to world peace and cancelled Moria's identity as a pirate. At the same time, cancel the pirate status of the rest of the Moria pirates and give them a chance to make a new choice. A benevolent world government. This is everyone's impression of the world government afterwards. This allowed the world government to reap a wave of impression points. After all, be kind. However, just when everyone was rejoicing that Whitebeard was dead, the Navy was about to rule the world and justice and peace were about to shine on the sea, pirates who had just set sail came to various islands to replenish supplies. Wherever he goes, nothing grows. Countless people don't understand why. The Navy's emergency call was blown. Not long after the war ended, Yan began to put out fires everywhere. The three major generals were forced to go out on field duty. Kizaru, who has been paddling for many years, swore that if he had known about this, he would have taken the lead in chopping off Whitebeard during the war. Mud, because of his words, all the field work that he had avoided for many years was made up for. Because of his speed, he has to travel to more than a dozen countries and more than 30 islands a day to carry out rescue activities. The Navy temporarily activated killing mode. When Akainu encounters a pirate ship, he is immediately destroyed. Green pheasants freeze icebergs one after another on the sea. Kizaru's 8-foot Megatama has been trained to the full level this time. Because Yan can fly, he and his detachment went directly to the field separately. The detachment sailed its own, Yan flew its own. The soldiers were divided into two groups to capture the pirates. Enel went on field duty in a short period of time, and his achievements in catching pirates directly accumulated to the rank of general, becoming another new star in the Navy. The same goes for Rob Lucci. A new era of great navigation has emerged, and countless pirates are emerging. The Navy is conducting firefighting operations. Sengoku went to Marijoa to question the 5 old stars about ending the war, and finally had a big quarrel with the 5 old stars. In anger, he submitted his resignation directly. Then, not approved. Wulaoxing's original words were, "If you're awesome, just become a pirate and go to sea with the Navy. Otherwise, the resignation report will never be approved in this life. If you want to resign, if you want to leave the Navy, what comes here is either the news that you are a pirate, or your application for death pension. You choose." Wulaoxing's attitude is also very tough. In the end, he still had time to be a good old man and find an idle position for warring states. Although Senguo is not very obedient, likes to cause trouble, and secretly got Bawang Se to the level of Bawang Se entanglement, this person is indeed capable. During his reign, the maritime areas controlled by the Navy were expanded and consolidated. Maintained the peace of the sea. At the same time, he also succeeded in confining the 4 emperors in the New World. Some of the forces that originally roamed the sea were expelled, and the Navy's dominance was confirmed. In addition, the warring states period has always been brave and resourceful, and the arrangements for everyone are also very good. Of course, the most important thing is that they don't like any of the current 3 generals. Lazy person, violent maniac, fish monster. What is this all about? The 3 of them can be marshals. The T-dolphin is lustful, but the peach rabbit does not have enough prestige. If it weren't for these 5 guys being able to play, the 5 old stars would have doubted the Navy's selection standards. Every time he thinks of this, Wulaoxing can't help but miss the warring states period. During the warring states period when they were generals, they had no choice at all. Zifa is a heroic romantic who doesn't care about official position at all. Garp doesn't even care about credit, he only cares about catching pirates and having a good time with Roger. No choice. When Yan returned to the Navy headquarters, this was the news he received. Wulaoxing said that the Navy would come up with its own plan and select a backup marshal for them to take control of. So, that's why I'm going to the meeting of generals. Yan looked at Mahler in confusion. You will inform me of this when I come back, is that interesting? Mahler was helpless. He really couldn't attend this meeting for Yan. Chapter 92. In the office that Malinfando had just repaired, Yan felt waves of low pressure as soon as he stepped into it. Everyone's eyes were staring at him. That scene was terrifying to death. From martial warring states to ordinary major generals, everyone was sitting there upright, no one spoke. The atmosphere was extremely awkward. I'm just late. Don't be so serious. Yan couldn't help but blurt out, when did the Navy become so serious about being late? You know, even Garp didn't sleep and was seriously waiting for the meeting. Zifa called him over. Yan arrived, and warring states sighed. Yan has also arrived, and this meeting cannot be delayed any longer. Everyone, make your choice. Marshal, who do you support? Use real name voting to choose your favorite candidate. Akainu is still serious and Aokiji is no longer lazy. Yan was really curious when he saw how neither of them was convinced by the other. What is the reason that makes 2 people become like this? Quietly asked Zifa this question. Teacher Zifa, why are the 2 generals not convinced by each other? Senior brother Kyuzan is very tolerant of justice and cannot tolerate senior brother Sakaski. Zifa looked around and saw that everyone was thinking, and replied in a low voice, it's because of what happened to O'Hara back then. Back then, Akainu destroyed the escape ship and completely destroyed O'Hara, so much so that Aokiji completely disagreed with his justice. Yan was shocked, did it start from that time? However, Yan couldn't help it and blurted out, but if we start from O'Hara, can this matter be regarded as Brother Kuzan looking for a place for his wife's mother-in-law? Is this personal emotion? Yan forgot that the entire conference room was filled with people who had ears and eyes in all directions. All of these people are strong men on the sea, defenders of justice, and each of them has learned the ability to monitor. So, they all heard the conversation between Arwen and Zifa. Then, Aokiji's momentum disappeared instantly. You mad? Originally we were fighting over the ideals of justice, but now you have ended up with me as one standing up for my wife. No, it's for my lover. No matter how you put it, it's wrong. The dovish generals looked increasingly bad. The hawkish generals are getting happier and happier. Come on, keep fighting. The generals of the Moya faction hesitated. Any little thing will directly affect a general's decision. Qing Pheasant turned his head and glared at Yan. Boy, you want to destroy me. Garp was laughing heartlessly. That's so interesting. Can this be explained this way? Warring States put his forehead on his head and sighed, but he had no choice but to give the order to disband. Everyone, please exit. I will go and negotiate with the world government, and you can also negotiate privately among yourselves to decide who wants to withdraw and who wants to compete. And it's time for you to discuss your ideas of justice. Akainu and Aokiji looked at each other and saw determination in each other's eyes. That is the unswerving belief in one's own justice and the firmness in one's own belief. Neither of them will retreat. Since no one will retire, and Marshal Warring States is anxious to retire, why not let senior brother Porisalino come to power? Seeing the two of them, Yan couldn't help but complain. Warring States glared at Yan fiercely. You kid is here to do bad things. Do you know how many people you have offended with just a few words? How scary. Kizaru looked at the time, gently touched his body, and his suit and leather shoes gradually changed into pajamas and slippers. Of course, this is all a lie. He is just using his ability to refract light to deceive his senses. This behavior of his also expressed that he did not want to be a marshal. I don't want to be one at all. Whichever one of you likes to be one, just don't look for me. Kizaru's behavior can be said to be very unorthodox. Yet he is also the only one who will not be condemned by the faction. The centrist faction was originally a faction that formed spontaneously because no faction wanted to join. This faction has always been relatively small in the navy. Doves and hawks seem to be extremes, but they both have their own ideas of justice. Yan was left behind. Warring States glared at Yan with a gloomy face. What do you want to do? What the hell do you want to do? Do you know that I am finally retiring? The only thing left is to vote again today and elect a marshal. Yan bowed his head and admitted his mistake, with a good attitude. Leader, whatever you say is what you say. I will never refute you. I agree with whatever you say. I will never refute you. Faced with such a rogue way of admitting his mistake, Warring States gritted his teeth even more. What the hell? What is this? I resented it. Bang! Warring States slapped a piece of appointment letter on the table. You are now appointed as the base commander of G5. Yan's eyes widened. What does it mean? Isn't G5's base commander Virgo? It's a real hammer. Virgo is Doflamingo's subordinate. Understood. Yan understood. He'll die in a shipwreck a week like this. Pretty good. What else could Yan say? He could only accept it calmly. When you go there, cry a little more and send him off. Then clean up the G5 Navy and clean up all the bad habits left by Virgo. No problem. Yan said he was familiar with this. It's nothing more than consuming the population. Just keep participating in the war. He may not be familiar with other things. Piss off. As soon as Warring States looked at his expression, he knew that he was thinking wildly. My good reputation has been ruined by you. Menopausal, irritable old man, there is really nothing he can do. Shrugging, Yan left alone. When he met such a leader, he was really unlucky for 8 lifetimes. There is no other way, you have to rely on yourself for everything. When he becomes a marshal in the future, he will do the same thing. Otherwise, His Majesty cannot be demonstrated. He scolds his subordinates at every turn to increase his authority. You should say half of your words and leave the other half to let others guess. It's normal to guess right. If you guess wrong and do something wrong, you will have to bear the consequences. Because you guessed wrong. How good! As soon as Yan walked out of the headquarters building, his mouth was covered and he was dragged to a corner. Yan opened his big hands and couldn't help but vomit. Damn it, Garp, cover my mouth with the hand you used to hold your nose. Don't ask Yan how he knew. When I asked, there was a small piece of something unknown what it was stuffed into my mouth. Garp laughed at Yan's appearance and stayed aside to pick his nose. As for make a fuss. This is all my love for you. After vomiting, Yan's face was full of anger and he stared at him unkindly. Old man, what on earth do you want to do? Do you know that it's very offensive when you do this? Garp scratched his head, wondering. Go save Ace. Yan was stunned, remembering that he had indeed forgotten one thing. Chapter 93 Roger is Garp's son. Then do you know where he is now? No. Where? Amazon Lily. Fuck, how do you know? The dragon told me. You colluded with the Revolutionary Army. Grandpa wants to see his grandson. My son tells Grandpa where your grandson is. What does this have to do with colluding with the Revolutionary Army? You are arrogant. Yan was convinced. This world has no love, let it be destroyed. This seemingly stupid old man actually made the relationship between the characters so clear, I'm really speechless. In such a speechless world, where is the love? It's all gone, it's all gone. There is no emotion left. Garp was elated. I just contacted my son. There is a small island next to Amazon Lily where Jinbei, Ivankov, Law and others are treating Luffy and Ace. Luo didn't understand very much why he had to help Ace sew up his body. It also needs to be maintained with nutrient solution. Ivankov said nothing. Luo didn't ask any more questions, just left enough nutrient solution for Ace to soak in and left. During this period, Raleigh also came here. Ivankov has been in a bad mood during this time. He has many things to consider, which is very troublesome. Little Ivan, Jinbei said that someone can save Ace, is it true? Ivankov nodded. Raleigh opened his eyes in shock. Hancock simply couldn't believe that dead people could be saved. What kind of god is that? Then when will he come? Luffy asked as he stood up excitedly. Ivankov shook his head and said helplessly. I don't know, but it should be soon. I have contacted your father and your father will contact him. Father. Luffy's understanding of his father is limited to the word father. There are such powerful talents in the Revolutionary Army. Riley beside him murmured in his mind. Anyone who can bring the dead back to life must be a terrifying talent anywhere. No matter which angle he thought about it, Riley found it too terrifying. Luffy, eat something quickly and heal your injuries. Ivankov changed the subject. He also had some questions to ask Yavin. What the hell is going on with bears? And what happened to Yavin himself? Why did the whole world become strange after leaving Impel Down City? The world has become so strange. Do not understand, do not understand. He needed to ask someone. Suddenly, Hancock stopped being a nymphomaniac, Rayleigh pulled out the sword from his waist, Jinbei jumped up suddenly, Ivankov stood up in panic, and the four of them looked in the same direction. Hancock and Riley were the first to act. You can see the strength of the two people. Luffy looked confused, what was going on? A monster is coming. Rayleigh muttered. On the horizon, a black shadow appeared. Yan dragged Garp and appeared here unscrupulously. When Garp saw the island from a distance, he released his unique invincible aura. The moment Ivankov saw Yavin, Ivankov breathed a sigh of relief. Don't be afraid or not, they are all your own family. Hancock gritted his teeth, it was really scary that the Navy actually found this place. Luffy, go away, I'll deal with them. Hancock shouted anxiously. Garp said it was okay, but he was afraid that Yan was here to deal with Luffy. Ivankov and Riley signaled to Hancock and Jinbei not to be nervous. It's my own. Yan is the one I'm waiting for. Ivankov's words were like thunder, startling everyone present who knew Yavin's identity. From a distance, Yan threw Garp this way. Garp adjusted his posture in the air, landed next to Luffy, and punched him hard. Idiot grandson, who asked you to go to Impel Down and Marine Vondo? Do you know how worried I am, Grandpa? Garp laughed and said angrily. Luffy was rolling on the ground in pain, and no one around him dared to step forward. Yan fell down helplessly, looked at Garp and laughed, and patted Ivankov and Jinbei on the shoulders with approval, thanking them for taking care of Luffy. Then he thanked Hancock, making Hancock excited to think that Garp approved of their marriage. Riley hid aside and remained silent. Two Navy bosses are here, so he'd better keep a low profile. Riley, why are you here? Are you trying to bewitch my grandson again? When he thought of this, Garp's anger rose, and he rolled up his sleeves and wanted to fuck Riley. First there's the red-haired one, and then there's you Riley. Do you, the Roger Pirates, have any objections to our monkey family? If you have any objections, tell me, Garp, what's the point of bewitching my grandson? Riley frantically explained that he was not bewitching, he just wanted to train Luffy for a period of time. Now that Luffy enters the new world, he can easily be beaten to death. Yan held his forehead and walked towards Ace in the nutrient solution. Has the tattoo been removed? Get rid. Ivankov came over. Inject him with female hormones to turn him into a female. Yan said calmly. Everyone around was shocked. Luffy even expressed his disapproval. Yan glanced at the little fool. If he doesn't transform and gives up his identity as Ace, he will be hunted down by the Navy until he is reduced to ashes. The officers and soldiers of our Navy who died in the battle at the top will die with their eyes open. Yan's calm voice calmed everyone around him. Luffy looked at Garp, who nodded, that was indeed the case. As a Marine, it would be great if he could do this. Hancock quickly asked someone to dress Ace in women's clothing. At this time, Garp suddenly laughed at Riley. Lei Li laughed and panicked. Is this old mad dog crazy? If he bites me, will he infect me? Then Xiaoqi will dislike me and won't let me go home. Just think about it. Get away from him quickly. Garp hugged Riley and laughed. Ace is Roger's son. Ah, no, it's his daughter. Then are you considered Ace's uncle? Lei Li nodded, this must count. Ace calls me grandpa, what should you and Roger call me? Garp stood aside triumphantly, watching Riley's face getting darker and darker. Call. Just scream. You Roger Pirates are all Ace's uncle, and I am the father of your Roger Pirates. What a shameless old man. These 6 words automatically appeared in the minds of everyone around him. Riley didn't know whether he should kill Garp or overturn Roger's grave and tell him that you are not a kind person and that the person you left alone wants to be your father. Believe you, leave the child to you, you actually want to be Roger's father, are you embarrassed? Excuse me. Garp answered without hesitation. He pinched his nose and said, if I don't treat him as a son, why should I help him raise his child? Makes sense. You are right. I was speechless. Riley said he didn't know how to answer it. What you say makes sense. That's right. Yan, who was next to him, twitched his head and continued, if you treat Roger as your son, you would have been father and son in the Valley of Gods back then. It's a good story. Really not bad. Riley's face turned darker. If Ace hadn't been waiting for you to rescue me, I would have killed you two shameless things. As you talk and laugh, we, the Roger Pirates, have become like sons. If that's the case, if you run after us, you are teaching an unfilial son a lesson. His face darkened and his head twitched. Riley continued. Yan and Garp looked at each other. That's right, that's true. Chapter 94. Garp's biggest regret in life is that he couldn't beat Roger to death. Now, suddenly, I found out that I was Roger's father, and I was really happy. Riley already had the urge to gather the remnants of the Roger Pirates, regroup, break through Marine Fando, and kill the bastard Garp. As for why not now? Sorry, he really doesn't think he can defeat Garp alone. So, given for now. While Garp was excited and Riley was studying how to find something to do for Garp, Hancock's men had already put Ace back into women's clothing. Yan, Garp, Riley, and others gathered around. Ivankov walked up and his 5 nails grew wildly, piercing into Ace's body. Estrogen. Under everyone's shocked gazes, Ace's chest gradually expanded while he was lying on the ground, his legs became slender, his fingers became slender, his hair grew longer, and the pockmarks on his face disappeared. A beautiful black-haired sleeping beauty appeared in front of everyone. Ivankov looked at Yavin, the meaning was obvious, it's your turn. Yan chuckled, and in front of his right hand, darkness emerged, and a red ball of light emerged. In the red light ball, a young Ace was faintly seen sleeping inside. Everyone held their breath, fearing that their breathing would be too loud and disturb the sleeping Ace inside. Yan chuckled, turned his palm upside down, and pressed it gently into Ace's chest. The moment the red light ball submerged, an invisible airflow appeared. Unfortunately it's too weak. Except for Luffy, everyone present couldn't help but investigate Ace. As they watched, they felt that Ace's body, which originally had no heartbeat, began to beat at this moment. Although it was weak, it was definitely beating. As time passed by, Ace's heartbeat became louder and louder, and his breathing became heavier and heavier. Suddenly, Ace sat up suddenly, gasping for air. Luffy was excited and wanted to step forward, but Garp held him down. Everyone saw cold sweat dripping from Ace's body, and his closed eyes slowly opened, revealing endless sadness. "Dad, I'm sorry." Everyone laughed when they heard Ace's voice. "This is resurrection. This is too simple." Ace was frightened by his own voice and stopped abruptly. "Ace, you're awake." Luffy hugged him excitedly. In an instant, everyone heard the sound of something breaking. When Hancock saw Luffy hugging Ace, his whole body instantly turned to stone and shattered in the breeze. Yan yawned. Luckily, it was successful. "This is a good news." Ace was shocked by the softness of his chest. With a dark face, Garp pulled Luffy back and warned, "Ace's body is that of a girl now. You must pay attention to the rules of communication between men and women." Ace looked at his grandfather in surprise, and then began to glance around. Follow Luffy to the ugly face of Marine Fando. The rising star of the navy, Shishibukai Hancock, was an old man with a white beard whom I didn't recognize. "Jinbei." Ace called someone he knew well. Jinbei also stepped forward to explain quickly. Ace lowered his head and smiled bitterly when he saw his female self. "Ace!" Cap shouted. Looking at his grandfather, Ace didn't know how to express it. "Change your name. Call Anne." Everyone around was astonished. "What's the point? Your mother said that the boy's name is Ace and the girl's name is Anne." A flash of memory came over Garp's face. Even if he only spent one day with that legendary and unknown woman, he still had a deep memory. Ace shook his head and said with firm eyes, "My name is Ace, Portka's Ace. I want to fulfill the wish of Father Whitebeard and become the Pirate King. Even if you are the enemy of the whole world." The determined expression made the expression on Garp's face become complicated. Ace ignored Garp's expression and walked towards Ivankov. "Please help me regain my manhood." Ivankov looked at the trusting smile. Luffy next to him laughed, "This is the Ace I know." Arvin shook his head, pulled Ace over, pushed him to the ground, pulled out the short knife, stabbed him hard on the right shoulder, and pinned him to the ground. Then darkness appeared in his hand, and another knife appeared, piercing Ace's left shoulder hard. Then darkness emerged again, and another knife appeared. 5 knives appeared in succession, piercing him in different places and pinning him to the ground. The scene was extremely bloody, and Luffy was extremely angry. He rushed forward, but Rayleigh held his sword to his neck. Ivankov quickly grabbed Luffy. Jinbei wanted to take action, but was frightened by Garp's fierce look and did not dare to move. The murderous intent in those terrifying eyes was not strong, but extremely pure. Seeing Ace's miserable look, Arvin pointed at Garp and yawned, but he was still sleepy. "If it weren't for this old man's existence, do you think you could be resurrected? Do you know what will happen if you become a pirate again? The simplest situation is that the Navy will inevitably introduce someone to take the blame. Your grandfather Garp is the best target. Then he will have to bear the blame and go to Impel Down City for the rest of his life. Now, you can either change your ambition, accept the arrangement honestly, change your name to An, and go to our Navy with Lieutenant General Garp, or I will take care of your life." A sword floated above Ace's head. Yan stood aside like a devil. Hancock looked good at the scene where Luffy was blocked by Ivankov, and Rayleigh blocked Luffy with his sword. She was so confused that she wanted to step forward to help Luffy, but was stopped by her mother-in-law. "Rayleigh, you are Roger's first officer, please say something," Hancock shouted. When Luffy was tired of holding his sword to stop him, he sighed, took out his wine bottle, took a deep sip for himself, and said helplessly, "What can I say? That Navy boy had a point. The reason why An was given a second life was not for anything else, just old man Garp. And An's previous life was only able to survive because of Garp." Rayleigh saw clearly. "Some things can't be stopped if you want to. And I believe it. With the captain's selfish character, I'm afraid he only lives in the hope that An can grow up safely and healthily." Ace looked at Rayleigh with wide eyes. "Is this what you think?" Rayleigh's change of address let Ace know that Rayleigh really wanted him to choose to live by the name An, instead of living in the name of Ace. "My name is Anne." "Ace, no, it was An who closed her eyes and said slowly. Ivankov let go of Luffy and Garp smiled. He is a selfish grandfather. His greatest hope is that his grandson can live happily. As for the rest, he didn't expect it. Yan put away the knife that had been pierced on Anne's body, Hancock quickly called someone over for treatment, and Ivankov also quickly gave an injection of hormones. At this time, everything was quiet. However, Garp punched Yan on the head. Anne is my granddaughter. You were too cruel just now. You are rude. Chapter 95 No problem at all. Garp took Anne back to the Navy headquarters and immediately submitted his resignation application. At this point, except for he, the older generation of the Navy's main pillars, the other three are all ready to retreat to the second line. Many Marines didn't understand it until they saw An use Yandi's move in the training camp and expressed their understanding. Because Lieutenant General Garp had lost his grandson, he went out for a walk and met a girl who had eaten chasheo fruit. He adopted her as his daughter and brought her back to his headquarters. Although the girl is not Lieutenant General Garp's biological child, she still has the Lieutenant General's faith in her. That day, countless Marines came to Garp's home. An, who had just arrived at the headquarters, met a bunch of big shots who had met before but were enemies. Warring States, Zifa and he all arrived carrying gifts. An opened the door and saw the three people from Warring States. He lowered his head in panic, for fear of being recognized. And this scene was embarrassing in the eyes of the three of them. He smiled kindly and patted her shoulder. My child is a little thin. Eat more. This is a gift to you. He took out a bracelet from his arms and put it on An. Sengoku scratched his head, and now his white hair became more obvious. This is a short knife, given to you. Zifa glared at Warring States fiercely. There's no way to give someone a short sword as a gift. If the Warring States period is not convinced, what will you give me? Zifa smiled proudly. Gun. Damn it, you old devil, you have the nerve to talk to me. Zenguo's brows jumped wildly. He sighed, not wanting to talk to the two old ghosts. What did you two give me as a gift? One brings a gun, the other a knife. Anne was a little panicked when she looked at the famous sword and the extremely gorgeous and expensive gun in her arms. Put it away, they were all given as gifts to these two old ghosts. Garp's careless voice sounded. Warring States and Zifa smiled awkwardly, they were two old guys who didn't know how to choose gifts. However, the tough-talking two said that not only they themselves could not choose gifts, but neither could anyone who came after them. This is a military camp, not a love training camp. How could anyone give gifts to understanding women? After a while, there was a knock on the door, and Qingji came over yawning and looking like he was still awake. Seeing An, who was knowledgeable and sensible, with a sad look in his eyes, he scratched his head and handed over his gift box. Cough cough. Warring States and Zifa felt a little uncomfortable in their throats. King Zi saw the two of them and gave An a look of pity. The little girl was so unlucky to meet these two plague gods here. Kuzan, what did you give me? King Zi looked at the short knife and beautiful pistol on the table next to him, and then looked at he who was sitting quietly drinking tea next to him, and smiled bitterly in his heart. Hello Teacher Zifa, it's not as expensive as the teacher's gift, it's just a necklace. The green pheasant also highlights the word expensive. Warring States and Zifa's faces darkened, they snorted coldly, and sat there sulking. And Akainu and Kizaru. One of them is cold-faced and the other is perfunctory. They can never give women gifts. Warring States gritted his teeth, and An was amazed by the scene. In her heart, Senguo was still the wise and brave, serious naval marshal who had suppressed the sea for decades. How could he become entangled over a small gift? This is so unreal. There was a knock on the door, and Kizaru came. When I saw An, I greeted her with a smile and gave her my own gift. A huge gift box, as tall as a person. Poor Salino, with such a big gift box, you shouldn't have given it a set of armor. Zifa asked with a laugh. He felt that he could win against his apprentice once. Kizaru are smart and can understand with just a glance. It's so scary. Teacher Zifa actually gave a girl a gun. I gave you a bear pillow. The gift box was torn open, revealing a huge pillow inside, a white bear pillow, very cute. Zifa's face darkened, he lost to his own disciple, the one he hated the most. As a serious soldier, he hated Kizaru's lack of focus. Kizaru is so hateful. When Akainu carried a wardrobe of various women's clothes, Zifa and Sengoku were completely overwhelmed. This scene gives another suitable gift and is in line with Akainu's style. Anne was startled. There is a wardrobe full of clothes in various styles. There are so many and they are very satisfying. Such behavior and approach make it impossible for anyone to find fault. Why all three of them can give just the right gift? The two old men didn't understand. Especially after that, even Ghost Spider gave bags, Doberman gave anklets, Dalmatia gave beautiful shoes and other things, and even Smoker, the recognized steely straight man in the Navy, gave beautiful hairpins. Finally, two senior and powerful old men were completely confused. They can understand the female gifts given by Dao and Tina, after all, they are girls. T. Dolphin's gift was genuine, and they could understand it. After all, this guy was a vain person. Why do you guys, who are usually rich and powerful, give gifts so appropriately? Don't understand at all. When Yan came with the cake and the book, Warring States, and Zifa's eyes widened. Yes, there was also the option of cake. Facing the two old guys, Yan sighed helplessly and whispered to them, Smorg and Tina know each other, and Tina belongs to the Qing Pheasant faction. Akainu and Momoto have a good relationship, and Kizaru and Agaha always hang out together. The three generals are all leaders of their respective factions. Understand? If you still don't understand, let me remind you that Akainu has been friends with Jonathan from the G8 base for many years. Jonathan himself is a very mild-mannered dove general, but he has indeed been friends with the Hawk leader Akainu for many years. And this man also married Jessica, the cook. All in all, there are not many female sailors in the Navy, but there are some. And you two old guys, one is the chief instructor and the other is the marshal. There is not even a single female sailor in the recruit camp or in the Navy administration. To put it bluntly, you two are still blindly confident. Yan complained to the two old guys. Anne had never been so nervous. In her grandfather's small villa, enough troops were gathered to destroy an entire Yonko regiment. So horrible. There were also some naval admirals who were not at home and asked someone to give them a gift. Moreover, many of those gifts are in line with the girls' wishes and are extremely expensive. For example, the anklet given by Doberman is said to be a special gift for a royal princess of a certain country and is a type of luxury jewelry. There are also hairpins sent by Smoker, whose exquisite craftsmanship is generally unavailable. The clothes Akainu gave her were from a brand she had seen in magazines before. They were expensive and gorgeous enough to buy a cheap supernova head. Anne made a rough calculation and found that the gifts he received today were enough to buy 3 Luffys. The Navy is really wealthy. Yan couldn't help laughing at Anne's question. That's why I said before, if you become a Navy, there will be no problem at all. Chapter 96 Making a Deal with Pirates. The Navy is so rich, why doesn't it help some poor people? Anne asked her question. Yan smiled and asked, how do you know we can't be saved? Anne was silent. We know that Whitebeard has always been helping his hometown. But that doesn't mean we're not helping ordinary people. On the contrary, that's what we've been doing. Anne remained silent. If you have time, go out for a walk with Lieutenant General Garp. Now that Anne was a girl, Yan was embarrassed to pat her on the shoulder, toasted her with a wine glass, and walked towards Kizaru who was coming towards her. Kizaru had been looking for him with his eyes just now. Senior brother Porisalino. Kizaru took Yan to a corner. The world government wants to select a new Shishibukai. Yan suppressed his smile. Among the 3 generals of the Navy, Kizaru, the one who least wanted to be the marshal, was the one specifically responsible for connecting with the world government. There are some things that he will know about in advance. They picked that man. Yan's eyebrows were frivolous, and he asked with certainty and doubt. Huang Yuan nodded. Our 3 generals cannot leave easily. You have to be transferred to the New World recently. So. Understood. I've said hello to all the navies in the New World. They will notify you if they encounter you. Please. No problem. Yan didn't think there was any problem with Kizaru's request. Just kill someone. Still a pirate. Then. Yan saw Kizaru and the other generals talking and laughing. Intentionally or unintentionally, he was mentioning the existence of a certain man. Most of the generals who came here were Zifa's apprentices. Even if it's not the case, I'm willing to give him some face. They all knew that Zifa was cheated back then. Later, Qing Pheasant came over and toasted Yan with a glass of wine. Please. Even a cold-faced person like Akainu came over and said softly, thanks to his care for many years, there is not much you can do now. Please do your part for me and I will remember it. Drink it all in one gulp, as is a kind of style. The three generals cannot move at will. They finally had a chance to go out in the field before. The three of them had searched all over the world, but still couldn't find them. That guy also knew how many people he had offended and how much he had offended the navy, so he did not dare to take action easily. Every time they did it, it was done secretly, and they always suspected that someone was colluding with them. When the banquet was over, Yuan left with a smile. However, as soon as he returned to his home, Yuan's face immediately darkened. The world government is trying to weaken the navy and force Zifa to leave, which is really not a good sign. Call Doflamingo's number. Phew, isn't this our Major General Yuan? How come he has time to contact me, the Kibukai? Yuan was already mentally prepared for the strange words. Joker, you are joking. Of course I will contact you. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be where I am today. I'm here to report the news that the Navy is preparing to enter the New World recently. The three generals asked me privately to deal with Edward Weibul. I want to come to you to ask if you have any information about him. Doflamingo pondered. He knows this. Back then, Edward Weibul killed Zifa's disciples. This incident made the entire Navy very angry, but the world was so big, especially the New World, that they simply couldn't explore it all. In addition, there is the old witch Ba Jin. After a moment of silence, Doflamingo finally said, I know. But do you want to come to the New World? Crazy nod. Yuan admitted directly. The Navy began to doubt me and wanted to transfer me to the G5 branch. Doflamingo frowned. Why did the Warring States period still do the same thing, throwing those who didn't believe it into the forefront of the Navy? In order to keep Virgo's position, he has helped Virgo eliminate a large number of enemies inside and out over the years. There were many enemies that Virgo couldn't deal with, but he was responsible for them. The location of the Navy's G5 base is too awkward. The truth is that the Navy is on the front line in the New World. Now the Warring States period has to repeat its old tricks to deal with Yuan. What a disgusting wise general. I not only want to use you, but also make you willing to be used. If this is the case, then I have to find a way to keep Yuan, at least not to go to G5. Once he goes, he and Virgo are destined to fight each other, which is not worth it. Doflamingo soon made up his mind. I'll tell you Edward Weibul's position. If you use his head to gain favor with the Navy, you must not go to G5. He couldn't guarantee Yuan's loyalty, but he could guarantee Virgo's loyalty. In this case, of course, Virgo's position must be protected and Yuan cannot be allowed to cause trouble. After hanging up the phone, Yuan breathed a sigh of relief and showed a smile on his face. He just used it purely to touch Doflamingo with G5. Others didn't know it, but he still knew that that guy Virgo was Doflamingo's traitor. Next, call Fitz and ask him to help the CP to take a closer look and keep an eye on it. The next step is to call Long. The Revolutionary Army, large and small, can be considered a powerful force, and its intelligence system can be considered to be spread all over the world. It's good to borrow it. When the Navy, Underground World, Revolutionary Army and World Government CP all work together at the same time, I don't believe they won't be able to catch your little Edward Weibul. If he can't catch it, he will eat shit live in Yuan. Long is supportive of Yuan's arrival in the New World. Their Revolutionary Army is now in the New World, and they urgently need Yuan's arrival to do some actions and work, and they need Yuan's support. And he also supported Anne's being taken away by Garp. I also want to contact Rayleigh, what do you think? Why? Yuan found the idea of Dragon very strange. Why contact that guy Riley? If we can get his support and the support of the remaining members of the Roger Pirates, we can gain a lot of combat power. What kind of fighting power do a bunch of old immortals have? Yuan couldn't help but complain. Those guys like Rayleigh are not immortal. It would be good to at least let them teach the backup personnel. Long felt uncomfortable when he thought about this. Although there are some good players in the Revolutionary Army, the top combat power is still not enough. The 4 army commanders are barely good. Ivankov is not bad. The only one who can fight against a general and guarantee that he will not be undefeated in a short period of time is Sabo. And Sabo also has the qualifications to become a general-level combatant. As for the current real general-level combat power, he is the only one. The bear's situation was so dangerous now that he didn't dare to use it more than once. Only the middle and lower levels of the Revolutionary Army can barely fight against the world government. But this has always been the reason why the world government has not fully used the combat power of the navy. Once the world government launches a naval attack, it will be difficult for the revolutionary army to stop it. Therefore, he now urgently needs to replenish his combat power. Yan also thought of his difficulties and could only shrug. There was nothing he could do. As long as you are happy. But I still have to remind you that there are risks in making deals with pirates. Chapter 97 Consolation. Making deals with pirates is something Yan has always refused. Oh, so what happened between you and Doflamingo is not a deal? Long chuckled. Get to the heart of the matter. Chief, we are not trading, we are using. Long laughed, you are kidding me. What I want to do is not trading, but recruiting. Yan also smiled. Hang up the phone, both of you know what the other person is thinking, and that's okay. After the banquet, Warring States, Zifa and others did not leave, but continued to stay here. Facing Warring States and Zifa, even though Garp had countless thoughts in his heart, he did not dare to speak out at this time. These two old guys are so shameless. It's useless to say. I'm going to kill Doflamingo. The Warring States period is astonishing. He poured a cup of tea without saying anything. She had been chasing Doflamingo for many years and was very familiar with the level of that cunning pirate group. Don't talk about Doflamingo's strength, let's talk about his power. Have you considered how much impact it will have after killing him? Not to mention there are too many people in the navy who can kill Doflamingo, at least Crane himself can kill 7 right now. How about I sneak into Dressrosa and help you hammer him to death? Garp grinned, just like when he supported the Warring States period. Warring States laughed and shook his head, no. Although your words moved me very much, I think that your so-called assassination should be to rush over in a dog-headed warship, blow up the palace with a cannonball first, and then rush up and fight the entire Doflamingo pirates alone. Hit them hard. By then things will become very simple, and the ending will be a very simple ending. For Garp, it is probably a matter of hammering and blasting alone or with others. As long as the hammer explodes, it's not a problem. And if Sengoku thinks about it, based on the Tianlong people's belief in Garp's loyalty, there is a high probability that although this guy is a little barbaric, he should know that Doflamingo is threatening us, and then he can't stand it anymore and kill him. The loyal attitude is so happy. There is a high probability that it will eventually evolve into this. Warring States couldn't help but think. The Tianlong people's limited IQ only knew that Garp came to the Valley of Gods as a savior to rescue them. As for why Garp looks down on them, they probably just imagine that this is a strange state of love and loyalty. Brainstorming is the scariest thing. So what do you think? Zifa asked decisively. I hate the coquettishness of the Warring States period the most. Warring States didn't say anything, he just stayed there, planning the last big thing he would do when he retired from the position of marshal. This is a major event involving all aspects. Be careful. Even a wise and brave person like Zifa couldn't guess it. It seems that my hiding is still fine. A hint of joy emerged deep in Sengoku's heart. In his mind, in their generation, he won with intelligence, Garp won with force, and only Zifa had both wisdom and courage. As for the Crane, Crane's strength has not reached the general level and is not included in the statistics. When it comes to Akainu's generation, there are 3 mediocre people, all willful brats, each of whom has no special skills. If I insist on talking about specialties, I would probably say that one is very serious, one is very lazy, and the other is very good at fishing. All negative emotions, not a single positive one. Not like their generation. Thinking about the Warring States period, I feel that my generation is really outstanding. It's really awesome to fight the cruelest opponents and kill the most ferocious pirates with the least amount of money. However, even though they were so powerful, they still did not enjoy any blessings. On the warship, Yan was chatting with Catherine. Lying on Yan's chest, Catherine drew circles and asked happily, "What is our mission this time?" Yan said easily, "Kill an idiot named Edward Weibull." Catherine was confused. It seemed that this mission was not the one she had heard about. Shouldn't they go to G5? Yan continued, "This is a private mission. A commission from all the students of Mr. Zifa." Catherine didn't know the inside story, or in other words, she didn't care, she only cared about Yan. Yan also expected Catherine's words and continued, "He chopped off teacher Zifa's arm and killed a boatload of students. We can't let him go. At the same time, it's also a comfort to the older generation. In the future, we have a lot of guys to kill for the older generation. Catherine was very confused. What was involved? Teacher Zifa's wife and children were killed, Marshal Warring State's adopted son was killed, Lieutenant General Garp. In the end, Yan didn't know what to say anymore. The three pillars of the older generation of the Navy have no solace in family ties, only endless sadness. Catherine sighed, what an unlucky generation. And the three of them are too similar. In the New World, on an island originally controlled by Whitebeard, there was a strange man with a big body, thin legs, golden braided hair, and a crescent beard. His eyes were dull, and he was holding a strange broadsword in his hand. He was following an old woman and was acting recklessly. Massacre the people on the island. I am Whitebeard's son. Please pay me the taxes you owe. I'm here to collect taxes. Edward Weibul cut off a mountaintop with one knife, and the terrifying power shocked everyone. Bajan stood behind Edward Weibul very excitedly. Whitebeard is dead. Marco and others also hid. Now they are the legal heirs of Whitebeard C. Especially when he got an invitation letter from the world government to the Shishibukai. Bajan became even more excited. Their strength is recognized. They were immediately the smartest people alive on the sea. After handing over the invitation letter, Fitz, who was flying in the air, chuckled, took out another identical invitation letter from his arms, and took out the phone bug. Rear Admiral Yan, I have found the location of Edward Weibul and told them that they will stay here until now, waiting for the Navy to take them to Mary Joa for the inauguration ceremony. The phone worm paused, and Yan's voice rang, there is still an inauguration ceremony for the Shishibukai. I'm very confused as to why he doesn't know. Fitz's brisk voice sounded, of course not. Create an opportunity for you. Yan smiled. ACP would be added to the list of people who could not trade in the future. Really bad. However, he likes it. Because now I'm helping him. I'll treat you to dinner later. Marshal Kong said that there is a very good restaurant in Marie Joya. After hanging up the phone, Yan pulled out the short knife from his waist, looked at the rough sea, and slashed it hard. Against the wind and waves. CP is much more reliable than the underground world and the Revolutionary Army. The other two guys haven't received any information yet. I'm really speechless. I don't know how to do the intelligence system. Chapter 98 Killing People Again. On an unknown island, Weibul and Bajan, mother and son, were waiting for the arrival of the warship. When he saw a high-level warship from a distance, he immediately stood up excitedly. Mom, are we going to kill that warship? When Weibul saw the warship, he trembled all over. He thought of Zifa, the one who almost killed him. Bajan slapped him on the head. Idiot, why should we kill them? We have to cooperate with them. Well, Weibul was shocked. But they killed the father. Bajan was not sad at all, he laughed and said, revenge is not as important as wealth. Weibul didn't understand. Yan flew in from midair at high speed, raised his hand and waved the hell flame bird to explode. Weibul's eyes changed as he was talking, he stood in front of Bajan and slashed open the hell flame bird with one knife. Navy, what are you going to do? Bajan jumped out and shouted. Yan chuckled. What are you doing? I'm a Navy, so of course I have to kill pirates. Bajan gritted his teeth and was so angry that he took out the invitation letter. This is an invitation letter from the Shishibukai. We are now the Shishibukai. This is sent by CP personally. Do you know what you are doing? Yan watched helplessly as the invitation gradually turned into a piece of white paper, and the ink words on it disappeared little by little. And Bucky also saw this scene. Marigio, Smooth, who is responsible for the Shishibukai affairs, is pruning flowers in his office, and Fitz is standing behind him. Smoot's arrogant voice sounded, you know that my ability can be eliminated at regular intervals, so you tricked that old witch Bajan just to sell you to the Navy. Fitz bowed his head respectfully. Dear Lord Smoot, we are officials of the world government. Those pirates are lawless and even their admirals dare to attack, so naturally we must be careful. Smoot chuckled disdainfully. That's right. Well, in that case, I'll help him again. Eliminate scope, expand. Following his voice, Bajan, who was far away on the island, saw the invitation turn into white paper. Now she saw the white paper disappearing rapidly, and her fingers and body began to disappear as well. Bajan was so frightened that his whole body trembled. Weibul was also trembling with fear. Mom, are you okay? Rush over and save Ba Jin. Seeing this scene, Yuan smiled even more happily. Hellflame Bird X50, Hellflame Bird Rain. Countless Hellflame Birds rushed down quickly and exploded towards Weibul and Ba Jin, who were unprepared. The smoke and dust dissipated, and now even Weibul's body began to gradually disappear. Ba Jin's heart was full of anger, and his resentful eyes stared at Yuan, as if he wanted to eat him. The world government cannot be handed over easily. They're all a bunch of bastards. After Ba Jin died, Weibul's body was still slowly disappearing. The only thing that the idiot Weibul could think of was to kill Yuan. But because he hugged Ba Jin, he started to eliminate it from the chest. Before he could charge, the internal organs were completely eliminated. Bug-like ability. Yuan couldn't help but sigh. Those people in the world government are indeed crouching tigers, hidden dragons. No wonder he is specifically responsible for handling the Shishibukai matters. No wonder you look down on Blackbeard. It turns out that his ability is so buggy. It has been decided that anything coming from the world government in the future must be treated with caution. Yuan called Kizaru. Senior brother Polo Salino, it's been solved. Kizaru was startled, so fast? Okay, senior brother will treat you to dinner when you come back. Although it felt a bit fast, Kizaru felt that he still had to trust his junior brother. If you can't even trust your own junior brother, who else can you trust? Smoot told Wuliaoxing about Ba Jin. The 5 old stars looked at each other. Just think of it as selling the navy. Then it needs to be beaten properly. Zifa has taught the navy for 20 years, and now everyone from top to bottom is his. I agree to the world conscription. Peach Rabbit and Tea Dolphin are not allowed. Yuxiao and Huang Mu are allowed to come to power. Send people to form their own teams for these 2 generals. We cannot let the Warring States period block them from other places. We also need to consider the choice of the next Navy Marshal. Sengoku's forbearance in Overlord sex is really terrible. So we need to interrupt the Navy's current inheritance method and recruit people from outside. The 5 old stars were frightened when they thought about what would happen in this war. The existence of the Navy has exceeded their expectations. How about assisting Yuan to become the Marshal of the Navy? One of the 5 old stars raised this conjecture, and others were confused. Yuan obeyed our words and has been confirmed after several missions. Let's promote him to Admiral. Give him another test. What test? Retirement arrangements for Sengoku Garp. That's fine too. Wuliaoxing did what he thought of and called Yuan. What are your thoughts on the arrangements for Sengoku and Garp after their retirement? Yuan, who looked confused, wanted to say, what can I think? My biggest thought is whether I can have a good rest. I will immediately follow the fleet to the Whitebeard waters to compete with those pirates for the territory reserved by the Whitebeard pirates. Do you know how dangerous this is? Yuan sighed. I think it's better to let Sengoku, Garp, and Zifa teach the new recruits together. Cancel Zifa's guerrillas and let him and his good buddies train new recruits at the same time. Set up competitors for them and see who is stronger. Add the title of Naval Inspector to 3 more of them. Wuliaoxing was silent for a moment. A good arrangement, better than splitting things up as they thought before. We will find a way to promote you to become a naval marshal, so go ahead and make meritorious service. Yuan frowned, this must be a bit difficult. In a world government with serious bureaucracy, except for certain specific periods, even those who are young may not be able to reach certain positions. When you are in your 20s, you can become a lieutenant general because of your ability to fight. Even if you have the fighting ability of a general, you will not become a general because it is a carrot and a trap. So Yuan is still a little confused about the arrangement of the 5 old stars, and I really can't understand why he would say such a thing. According to common sense, when Akainu's generation goes away, Smoker's generation will still exist. Shaking his head, if the 5 old stars get excited and push down Akainu in advance, wouldn't he take over? And when he got the upper hand, he was still very happy. At the very least, you don't have to go out in the field every day. When the time comes, he will ask Warring States to go out on field duty every day. Even if you are an 80-year-old man, I will still let you go out into the field. Nothing else, I just don't want to respect you. Who asked you to let me go out on the field every day during the Warring States period? Go back for revenge. Just when Yuan was excited, he received a call. A call from Doflamingo. Yuan, do you know Kai Burson? The sound of gnashing teeth made Yuan's teeth hurt. Chapter 99 Missing Yuan. Kiberson? Of course you know, as a warehousing industry boss, you own warehouses all over the New World and even all over the world. He is one of the 6 kings of the Dark World, on par with you, Doflamingo. His personal strength is unknown, but he is definitely not weak. The management methods and management techniques are very terrible. It is a major obstacle for the Navy and the world government to intervene in the New World. And he is also the kind of black and white character. The most important thing is that the warehouses under his command do not store normal items, but evil goods. In his merchant's white world, there are world government officials, dignitaries of various kings, and even the Navy. In the black world, there are forces such as the Mafia and pirates. It can be said that it is very difficult to solve. However, that is to other people, to him Yan, that's all. Get rid of him. Doflamingo gritted his teeth. This bastard swallowed my goods. Awesome. Yan had to say, this guy was really awesome. He even dared to swallow Doflamingo's goods. What did he think? Doflamingo's identity is very impressive. The king of the underground world, Shishibukai, former celestial dragon, controls the entire kingdom of Dressrosa, and is also Kaido's glove, helping Kaido sell weapons. He is also a big arms dealer who also communicates with all countries in the world. He also has a celestial dragon background and has many strong men under his command, not to mention countless. That's it. Jibason also dared to take advantage of others. And don't you two work well together? Joker, how much alcohol did Kiberson drink? How could he be so drunk? He even dares to swallow your goods. Yan couldn't help but complain. How is this going? Completely incomprehensible. Did Kiberson drink fake wine, or was he so bankrupt that he couldn't even afford a peanut? As long as you have a peanut, you shouldn't be drunk like this. How crazy is it to swallow Doflamingo's goods? Really, you shouldn't get drunk even if you have a peanut. How do I know? We cooperated well before, but this time my goods were suddenly blocked. How do I know what he thinks? Doflamingo couldn't help roaring. It's crazy. So you want me to kill him? Arwen thinks Doflamingo is also crazy. Do you know how much force I need to use to kill him? Do you know how many reports I need to make to kill him? Do you know that if you kill him, there will be problems in the operation of the underground world in the New World? I know, but I still want you to kill him. Doflamingo acted like he knew everything, but I was still unhappy and wanted to kill him. The money-grubbing persona you established earlier works very well. He will definitely not be wary of customers like you who come to his door. When the time comes, you can rise up and kill him. The route and operation methods have been arranged, what else can Yan say? All I can say is that I obeyed. After I kill him, the warehousing industry under his command will definitely be swallowed up by the Navy and the world government. Yan couldn't help but warn. No problem. Doflamingo didn't mind. As long as you're willing to kill him. Reluctantly hanging up the phone, Yan found Mahler. Contact Jiberson and make an appointment to meet him and tell him that I have a huge sum of money that needs to be stored. Mahler was shocked. You would actually want to save your money? Moreover, isn't all your money held by Catherine? He glanced askance. No way. Sure. Mahler chose to obey. These things can still be dealt with. He could still get Kiberson's contact information. After all, in the Navy, there will be people who occasionally store things that are temporarily unusable. Yawning and stretching, Yan watched the route change. The people in the detachment had no objection to the Major General's order. The ones responsible for conquering the remaining forces of the Whitebeard pirates are Aramaki and Fujitora. The two of them need to make some more contributions and use their abilities to determine their status in the Navy. The Warring States period has also recognized the abilities of the two of them and chose to give them a credit for their achievements. This is a contribution to the Navy's expansion of territory. When preparing for the expedition, the two were surprised to find that Yan had not returned to the team yet. Is this an insult to me? Standing in front of a group of lieutenant generals with bruises and swollen faces, Aramaki couldn't help laughing. This little junior brother of yours is much more interesting than you. Behind Aramaki were 10 lieutenant generals with bruises on their noses and swollen faces, who had obviously been beaten. Ghost Spider stepped forward with bruises on his face. Mr. Aramaki, Yan is not punctual, nor is he a person who likes to bully others. I suggest you contact him. Ghost Spider thought of the scene when Yan went on a mission to bring him a gift, and felt that he should say a kind word to him. The other lieutenant generals also spoke up to defend Yuan. They all understood Aramua's strength. Pure taijutsu beat them up hard. Aramaki waved his hand, indicating that they didn't need to talk, and he didn't listen. He looked at Fujitora to see what this monster was thinking. Fujitora put down the soba noodles in his hand and said calmly, Major General Yuan's situation is special, we don't need to worry about it. Let's rescue the people under Whitebeard Sea first. Aramaki nodded. Monsters can only listen to monsters. Ghost Spider and others can only choose to obey. They were originally waiting for Yuan to come over and find a place. Now it seems that I can't wait any longer. I heard that Eiffel Yavan is very strong, and I wanted to play against him. We didn't succeed this time, so we have to wait until next time. When he thought of Yuan's performance in the battle at the top, Aramu felt that his hands were extremely itchy. I really want to experience my full blow, but I don't know if Yuan can realize my dream. Also, I don't know if his hellfire can burn my plants. Aramaki looked up to the sky and laughed when he thought of this. Excited. There are indeed many talented people in the navy. And paired with such a person, he felt that he could hunt the 4 emperors. Especially that guy Kaido, he is perfect for hunting with Yuan. Fujitora wasn't thrilled about this. He became a navy man with his own ideas. Only when your status reaches a certain level can you realize your ambitions. Otherwise, you can only become a pirate and do whatever you want. Fujitora felt that Yuan's words were very reasonable. I need the position of general, I need to attend the World Conference, and risk everything I have to abolish the king's Shishibukai. Fujitora thought to himself. When he thought about how many people could be legally plundered in the world, he felt that this was a shame, a disgrace to justice, and irresponsible to the people. Only by eliminating them can we prove our justice. Aramo wanted to hunt down those evil spirits more quickly and reasonably. For 2 monsters who had conflicts of justice, different personalities, and strange cooperation, Ghost Spider and others suddenly missed Kia Wen's inconsistency. Sometimes, junior brother Yuan's lack of tone can really lighten the atmosphere. This idea suddenly popped into everyone's mind. Chapter 100 There is a reason. Yuan, whom Ghost Spider misses, has come to a dark island. The island is not big, and it is full of black atmosphere. The warship entered the only port. Yuan stood on the warship, admiring the forts turning towards him on both sides of the port. Those are fixed high-power forts. It's terrifying just thinking about it. Renault immediately put people on guard. Mahler and Catherine prepare for battle. Yuan opened his eyes and found the auras of strong men on the island. From the aura, Yuan felt that there were more than a dozen people at the major general level. I also felt that I was at the level of a lieutenant general. Although everyone's strength may be high or low, the connotation of vitality and the existence of life breath are indeed the standard for measuring a person. Your vitality cannot reach that level. Even if you can burst out with terrifying strength in a short period of time, it is often not enough. This is a very realistic point. Yuan felt the breath of those people and chuckled, but did not make any reaction. The warship docked, and Kai Burson greeted him with a smile. Regarding Yuan's arrival, even if it was not a big deal, he took it very seriously. This is a big shot in the Baideo, and you need to respect him, otherwise, these officials will have a lot of troubles. For example, attack his local power. Yuan also greeted him with a smile. The two got closer and closer. When the two approached, Yuan instantly drew his knife and chopped off Jibatsun's head. Kai Burson still had a smile on his face, but his head had fallen off. A very terrible scene unfolded instantly. Yuan did all this very quickly, so fast that Kai Burson's men didn't even react. By the time he reacted, Kai Burson's head had fallen off. The subordinates didn't know what to do for a while. However, a sentence came to their minds at the same time: no martial ethics. No martial ethics at all. Major General, don't you think it is beneath your dignity to do this? A middle-aged man exuding the vitality of a lieutenant general stood up and spoke righteously. Boom! A huge slash flew away, and the middle-aged man raised his sword to block it. He was beaten so hard that he retreated, and finally spit out a mouthful of blood. The middle-aged man stood on the ground with his sword, his face full of disbelief. How could it be possible? If you can survive with one strike from me, you will have the strength to inherit the position of the owner of the warehouse store. Yuan said lightly, I'll give you a reward, so I'll give it to you. As for whether you can get it, it depends on your ability. The middle-aged man was ecstatic. Is this an unexpected surprise? The rest of the people also took up weapons one after another. If Gan Yuan was slashed by him, as long as he didn't die, he would be qualified. That's what the rest of them think. The middle-aged man quickly stepped forward to stop me with his sword. I can't let you hurt the boss who gave me the position of the owner of the warehouse store. This is a big boss of the navy, you must protect him. Stop, you must stop these villains. The close group of middle-aged people also went up. Block, must be blocked. If they can't be stopped, then they are useless and don't deserve that position. Yuan returned to the warship and watched the battle on the island with a smile. Watching them beat their heads to pieces just for a word or a position. The middle-aged man took out a forbidden drug and swallowed it happily. Then his fighting power surged, and he single-handedly suppressed all those who tried to resist him. Finally, he stood in the middle of the crowd. Standing on the island, he walked towards Yuan step by step with blood marks. Boom! A gunshot blasted the middle-aged man's head. I'm sorry. I said I would give you a position, but that doesn't mean my men will let you go. Yuan's light voice sounded again. Just killing an emperor of the dark world, how much energy can be wasted? At most, it just consumes some reputation. As for fame? How much is that worth? Looking at the fallen middle-aged man and the entire island, Yuan drove the warship out of the port and touched the sea surface with his hand. A darkness instantly emerged in the sea, and the entire island began to sink little by little. Eventually, the entire island disappeared. The ferocious, cruel and relaxing scene was photographed by the newspaper bird, and he left quickly. Kai Burson is dead. The news spread quickly. The entire new world was quickly covered by this news. One of the 6 kings of the underground world has been killed. Especially the scene at the end where Yuan made a gentle tap and made the entire island seem to be swallowed into the sea by a huge beast, which shocked everyone even more. What a terrible power this is! No one expected that the Navy's first war in the New World would proceed so quickly. Marine Fando, Sengoku put down the newspaper and couldn't help but sigh, it's over. After this wave, our Navy's reputation in the Dark World will be even worse. Warring states never thought that there would be such an attitude of firing the first shot. The crane next to him smiled and said indifferently, actually, this is good. At least, those people in the Dark World will be afraid of us instantly. It is not advisable to fight violence with violence. But responding to violence with violence is the easiest way to calm people down. Yuan's violent approach made all of them calm down. The so-called kings in the Dark World have all disappeared and no longer dare to panic. In Dressrosa, Doflamingo couldn't help laughing when he saw the news that the warehouse owner was exposed. Doflamingo's smile widened even more when he received the information that the world government and the navy were frantically carving up the wealth left by Jiberson. Call Kaido's number. It's not that I'm not doing anything, it's actually that the navy and the world government are blocking it. Now you have also seen that as soon as Jibatsun died, all the goods that had not been sent out by his subordinates were cut off, and there was nothing I could do about it. Doflamingo couldn't help but break into a cold sweat when he thought of this. He had lost Kaido's weapons worth 3 billion before. Now that Kai Burson is killed, it can all be pushed to his head. It's very simple. On the Ghost Island, Kaido picked up the wine bottle and started drinking heavily. After drinking, he got up drunk and shouted to the sky, "Navy, damn Navy, it's your Navy again." With a fierce jump, he transformed into a green dragon and flew towards the outside of the island. Huang Mu and Yuxiao, who were fighting in the Whitebeard Sea, suddenly received the news from Yuan and couldn't help laughing. What a good start! We have to work hard. Aramaki couldn't help laughing. As soon as Jiberson died, people from the navy and the world government took action. The Revolutionary Army also began to take advantage of the opportunity to get a piece of the pie. They make a profit by sharing the things in the warehouse, but they don't have any of them anyway. Big figures in the navy and the world government have taken action one after another, and many people want to get back what belongs to them. It can't be too obvious, so it can only be cut off in several places at once and then secretly transported away. Sengoku counted how much profit they could get this time. Make a lot of money. Kaido angrily flew into the sky to find trouble with the navy. A mere navy dares to delay my affairs. Kaido's anger swelled. End of the chapter. Like and subscribe for more stories like this.